Hello. Let me adjust the music. So it's not too loud. Is that too loud? Too quiet? What is up? What is up? Who do we have in chat? Rob. What's up, Rob? Stang 2007. What's up, Stang? How's it going, guys? Let me just adjust some stuffs. How do I get a link? Here we go. Reluctant Hero. What's up, man? Dun, 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 dun. Sure. Reluctant Hero says, how's your low-end underpowered 6800 XT doing? It's pretty good. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Is that too loud or too quiet? Rad Robot's watching a SpaceX launch. Cool, no problem. How's it going, man? Give me 1 second. So the title of the stream is kind of a misnomer. That's like going to be a portion of it, but I got some other stuff planned, and I'll go into why it's called that in a second. Pretty funny. Lol, not so funny 19. What's up, man? Good to see you. Sorry, we're meeting on a Tuesday. Had some prior engagements yesterday, so stream got moved to today. But back to Monday, starting next week. Have all these graduations to go to is basically it. But it should be good for now. Yeah, for a while. How's everyone doing? How was y'all's week? How was last week? I don't have my overlay thing installed right now. Let me see if I can get that. I really like that. I switched browsers, and that is in it. Extension. This is it. Okay. It's out. Okay, cool. Wow, it's so easy to do it. I really like it. Do that. And then I can do this. Yeah, there we go. That was easy. Well, let me close this then. Put that right there. How's the new PC? It's going, feeling good. Yeah. I will say, music's so loud on my end, but it's so quiet for y'all. It's hard for me to think it's so loud. Oh, I think I can just turn it down here. There we go. Okay, so it's going good. For gaming, no problem. Everything's going good there. I will say the video I released yesterday, which is the 6800 XT video, all of the game capturing in it was using some really high-level codecs. So if you're familiar with that kind of stuff, it was using HEVC H.265, really high bitrate 4K recordings because it's just trying to get the most out of the game footage, right? You don't want to. You're trying to show game footage. It's even though it's going through YouTube's compression, you don't want to. You want to give it the best it can get, right? Just so you have a good starting point. Even though you know it's going to go through compression and people understand that it's not going to look like that for real, you want to get as high as you can, but you don't want terabytes of space being taken up by some game files or game recordings. So you have to draw a line on like how much space do I want to take and how much quality do I want to show, right? And it's really hard to find a good line. And so for those, I wanted to see how it would look if I went on the higher end. So I used like a really nice codec and all that stuff. Looks great. The footage is fantastic. You can tell, especially in the text, it's crystal clear. It looks great. But on that video, there's 3 on screen at one time. And editing that was a nightmare. Even the 6800 XT, which has 16 gigs of VRAM, anytime I would do anything in that timeline that was revolving around those recordings, it was like 1 FPS. Like it was a nightmare. I had to keep like hiding it and like just doing one at a time and then hide it, do another at a time, hide it, or I'd have to render the whole thing and it would take like 30 minutes just to render it just so I can edit it. Really tough. And I'm not sure if that has to do with I mean, it was maxing out the GPU. I could see in the performance logs, which is unfortunate. But you know, I don't know if having a better CPU would help that, or if it's just the nature of how big those files were, or because the GPU, I think it can handle it. It just, I don't know. Maybe I have to use proxies next time or something. But it was really tough. It was like a slideshow, to be honest. But gaming on it has been great. I've had no issues there whatsoever. But specifically with that, and it's a shame because for video editing, I really prefer both Intel CPU and NVIDIA GPU, specifically for QuickSync for the CPU side and CUDA and NVENC on the NVIDIA side, because they just blow AMD out of the water, unfortunately. So I wonder if this would have been avoided if I was using those two things. I don't know. It's hard to say. But from a gaming perspective, it's great. I love Ryzen. I love AMD. But honestly, as a content creator who does a lot of creative work in like Photoshop and all that stuff, I really do prefer Intel and NVIDIA, which is just unfortunate. It's just how it is. So I wonder if there will be a time where AMD gets to that point where it's like we don't have to say go this if you're just gaming, go this if you are content creating. It's like just go this either way. You know what I mean? So hopefully we'll see. Does YouTube support AV1? So here's the thing. YouTube does support AV1, and that would have been a nice option. I can't remember if the 6800 XT supports AV1. It probably does. But the thing is, Premiere Pro does not support AV1. So if I wanted to do that, I would have to record in AV1 if the GPU supported it. I can't remember if it does. And then convert everything out back to H.264. And so it's just like, that's frustrating. You know what I mean? But YouTube does support AV1, which is pretty cool. But because my editing software doesn't yet, I don't know why they don't. They really should. I generally don't use AV1. So I'm waiting for them to support it, and that's going to be awesome. That'll be fantastic. Do you think an RX 9000 series card would make a difference in editing? I really do. Like, truly. That is 2 generations jump, and I've seen what the video editing difference is. So let me put it this way. If you're editing in 1080p, this doesn't matter. If you're editing in 4K H.264, it doesn't matter. You could use the 6000 series, and you'll be just fine. It is specifically when using these really high-end codecs at 4K at 60 plus FPS. I mean, it's like an insane amount of frames. Like truly an insane amount of high bit rate, high frame rate, triple on screen with other effects on top. You know what I mean? So it's just like a lot of data. I do think a different codec would work because H.265 is a little bit bloated. But I think obviously having a better card or more VRAM would also help. But the weird thing is that when you're video editing, most of the work is actually done by your CPU. Basically, the only thing GPU is good for is at the end of a project when you have to render out the whole thing, or individually rendering, which happens in like effects, right? So if the CPU can handle it, it does most of the work while video editing. So I wonder if I had an Intel CPU with QuickSync, how that would have performed. Because the Ryzen 7 7700 is a great CPU, but I don't know how it compares to Intel when it comes to content creation. So it's just interesting. But that's a small hiccup. You know, it's a very specific use case. And we'll see how it does in the future. I'm going to try it. There's not many times where I'm going to have that much data in a single frame. So I don't think it's going to matter too much, but yeah. Otherwise, it's been great. Dylan, what's up, Dylan? Robert Fix It Live, Big Nerd Energy. What's up, dude? Sam, how's it going, Sam? Hey Jason, hope you're doing okay. I was wondering if all was good when I didn't see a stream from you, and then I just realized I could have DM'd the Discord to check up. Yeah, no problem, man. Don't DM me though. I don't really check DMs that often. So just type it in the Discord, and yeah, I usually see it. And James is here. What's up, James? Reluctance Hero says, just do yourself a favor and go buy a proper GPU like the RTX 3050. Look, I know we junk on the RTX 3050, and I don't think it's a great card, especially for the price. But honestly, if you handed me a 3050 for like $120, I would be like, not a bad card for content creation and light gaming. There are obviously way better, but I like, you know how people say there's no bad cards, there's only bad prices. So like, what would be the acceptable price, do you think, if someone handed you a card for you, or handed you an RTX 3050 used and said, buy this? I think 120 be my max, but I think 100 is a really solid price. I do, because I would rather have, for the content creation side, is what makes 3050 appealing. Because obviously it competes with like a lot of lower end cards that you could get for the same price. But in terms of like what you get in the 3000 series, it is pretty, I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as people say. It's just the price. Real talk, a used 3050 8 gig at under 150 would slap, or new. I mean, even 150, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just depends what you're using it for. If you want full hog gaming power, no, like there are better cards. But I think if you're like content creating and you're streaming and you're gaming and you're doing this, you're doing that, and like Blender and stuff, and somebody's like saying I'm using a 3050, I'm like, it's not too bad. I don't know. I think it's not as bad as people like to say. It's just, that's what I'm saying. Like, people, like, y'all saw, the people in the Discord, y'all saw, I posted some stuff earlier, some comments from the new video where it's like people are either out of touch, or they are privileged, or they are like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to describe it, because people live in this world. When you talk about GPUs, they live in this world where something is objectively better than another thing for everyone, no matter what. And if y'all have no idea how many comments I saw that said, why buy a 6800 XT when you can buy a 9600 XT? And I'm like, but you don't even know. You don't know what that card is going to do. You're just, first of all, you're assuming it's going to be good, right? We don't have full benchmarks. We don't have anything. We don't have the full price. Let's be honest. Whatever price they say, add $200 to it. And they don't say how much availability we're going to get. It's going to be months before you can get the card paying extra. You know what I mean? So like, they just say it as an objective thing. Like, this is better than this. And I'm like, but you can get this now at this price, right? This isn't some perfect world where everything aligns and you get the perfect card at the perfect price. Like, we don't live in that world, man. You know what I mean? So it's like, every time I see those comments, I want to reply back with like, that's not how the world works, but I want to live in your head where everything is great and perfect, and that's the world we live in, and we just don't, unfortunately. Or people will like, man, this one pisses me off the most, where let's say I do like a budget build, right? It's like $300, and people are like, wow, you spent a quarter of the budget on a case and a power supply. You could have saved that money and just go to a recycling center and get a case for $10, and sometimes there's a power supply in there. And I'm like, that's great. I can't suggest that. Imagine if you're watching a cooking show on Food Network and they recommend you fly to the other side of the planet to get a very specific thing that it's like, it has to be this and you can't cook this otherwise. Dude, like, you have to land where people are. I understand, like, not everyone can they have access to a recycling center. Not everyone can do, like, I'm not going to suggest that because it's not realistic. A PC build I'm making a video on for it to be accessible to like the most amount of people and to just give people an idea. But people get so bogged down in the details where it's like they have to min max every piece of a build to the point where it is like not $1 is wasted. And I'm like, well, for your own personal use case, I think that's okay. That can be fun. I think min maxing can be fun sometimes. Value maxing, looks maxing, right? Mewing, but for a video, it's not happening. Like, it's just crazy. There's no way I'm gonna make a video saying, yeah, this is a $300 PC, but half the parts are free because I got lucky or I found them, or like, it's like, no, dude, you can't do that. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. James O has small nerd energy. Hell yeah, dude. Living the Core Ultra life here. Premiere Pro is next. Oh, nice. You're the first person I've seen that actually has the Core Ultra stuff. How is it? I haven't gotten to test it yet. My only bone to pick with Core Ultra is that it's a 1 CPU generation platform. Big bummer. Yeah, that's Intel always does 2 at the very least. I feel like it's been a long time since we've had 1, so that's a shame. Ish, hey, what's up, Ish? How are you, man? A 5090 on the dark web is $600. Pretty good price. Yeah, you should buy it, Ant-Man. This is the exact reason that people stay away from PC gaming. There is an unfortunate how do I put this? There's like a lot of crazy people who want to, like, they don't want to share their hobby and they think they're special because they know how to put some computer parts together. I'm sorry to say this, you're not special. Children can do it. It's not a difficult task. You learn it and then you do it. Like, you don't have to go to college to learn how to assemble a computer. You just learn from a YouTube video, and a child can do it. So yeah, you're not special. I'm sorry. And they're just very elitist and weird, and just weird about value maxing. And I think they just watch too many YouTube videos where I'm part of the problem, I think, because we talk about price and value so often, and I try to get it through people's head that you have to draw a line somewhere, and that's where the video is about. But that doesn't necessarily mean if you pay $10 more that you've wasted your money, right? Or if you get a card that's slightly worse for a little bit more money, that you're an idiot. Like, that's just not true. Like, people have different situations. They can't go and pick up a card. They don't have a good Facebook marketplace. They don't live in a country where stuff's available. Like, you can't satisfy everyone. Really hoping we see the Ryzen 10K APUs and proper 11K CPUs on AM5. My 7800X3 is awesome, but it'd be cool. That would be cool, yeah. That would be fantastic. To upgrade to an 11800 X3D before AM5 is done. That'd be amazing. That would be awesome. In fact, Jason, you don't need to go to college for anything at all. That's why YouTube and apparently AI are here for. It might be that way in Jamaica, but I would say in most countries there are certain jobs that you do have to go to college for. I would say you cannot learn how to be an engineer from YouTube courses at all and then get fully employed to be an engineer. You could. You certainly could. There's a lot of great resources online to learn that stuff. But I would say most jobs would not hire you without the degree, right? Because the degree is, not only is it like it's sort of a certificate to prove that you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, it is, we have certificates for stuff, but there are some jobs that, like, they just won't hire you unless you have that degree. And what's funny is that coding used to be that way. For a long time, coding was like, hey, you got a computer science degree, you're hired to be a coder. But then as we got more competition, it became less and less, oh, you have experience coding? Okay. And there's more resources to learn how to do it. You know, you don't need a degree as long as you can show off that you know how to do it. And then we have certificates and stuff. And so, you know, maybe there might be a point where that does happen for a lot of college stuff. Yeah. Soon that will be the normal person's head. Unfortunately, yeah. And until those hiring managers are replaced by the people who think that, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? That's kind of what happened in IT. There was a time, a long time ago, where IT, you had to like go to college, or you had to really know what you're doing, because the people hiring them also went to college, or, you know, also had a lot of hands-on experience or also had certificates. Now the people in those positions at the jobs, they don't have college degrees and they barely have any experience. So they are okay with hiring people who don't have those things. And so it's like brought the bar down for those jobs, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So until engineers who didn't go to college get into the hiring positions, there's still going to be those gate blocks. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But we do see that in a lot of jobs. It just depends who's hiring for them. It's like when a band gets popular, their fans get upset and try to gatekeep. It's stupid. Yeah, I agree. You need med school to be a doctor. No, Ant-Man. Ant-Man. Come here. Look at me. Go onto your Tor browser. Go onto the dark web. Find a secret course on how to be a med school student. Print out the certificate. You're a doctor. You don't need to go to school for that. I know how to heal people. When I was sick, I drank some Sprite, some chicken noodle soup, took some meds. I was right as rain the next day. I'm basically a doctor. What about witch doctors back in the day? What about, you know, they didn't need a college degree to lobotomize people. That's like so silly, right? You think people in ancient Rome went to college to be a doctor? No, you just chop off someone's leg. It's so silly. Talking about the Ultra Core series, I don't know how good it is because I don't think compare it to. I'm scheduled to do some benchmark versus Ryzen with a buddy at some point, but he is lagging. I should pair it with the 3050 just to troll people. That's cool, man. Yeah, look forward to that. I don't know much about Core Ultra other than like the initial reviews, basically saying it's similar performance, and the only or worse sometimes, but it is much more power efficient, right? Which is great. But Ryzen already is more power efficient than Intel, and they don't get as hot, you know. So they fix some errors. So it'll be interesting. I lost an entire username and email account because of the dark web. Oh my gosh. What were you sleuthing for, Grimlong? Sleepy Mushroom, what's up, man? Wagwan family. Ant-Man built an app when he was 19 with no knowledge of coding. It was a prototype, and iApp for architects. Sold it, retired at 20. So why don't you guys just do that? Why are you guys still wasting your time with college and YouTube? Like, just make an app and sell it. It's that simple, then be rich. Isn't that what Minecraft did? I mean, Katy Perry went to space one time and became an astronaut. If you make yourself or a family member feel better one time, then you're a doctor. It's that easy. Just be Katy Perry. Okay, so I have some stuff planned for stream tonight, but if you saw in the title, we do have some random tech reviewing, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But I first wanted to plug the new merch. If you see it here, I'm going to get really close so you can see. These are dad hats. I designed the GPU on top, and we have them in Team Blue, Team Red, and Team Green. I'm a bit of a graphic design is my passion. Let's just say that. And I tried out a few different vendors on which hat is the best quality, and this was the one that I thought was bearable. The rest were cheap, but they were garbage. So no, I tossed them. But this is a really good quality if you like a hat. I will say this one is a little bit high. On the real versions, it's a little bit lower. It's like about here. If you see this kind of like a little bit high, that was a mistake. So the real one is going to be kind of a little bit lower, more centered in the middle. But we do have them for... They're not... I'm not going to say the company names. You know who they are. Green, blue, and red. You know what I mean? And if anyone's interested, we have a link in the description on my store. It was really fun. It was really fun to design this. I tried out different ones. I originally wanted to make them based on real graphics cards, but because this is embroidery and not like screen printing, it was really hard to get details. Whenever it's this small, it's really hard to embroider little details in between. So I just made them kind of like a simple design with the color, because I don't like screen printing on hats. I prefer embroidery. It just looks nice and it lasts way longer. So if you're interested in this, use Stream 10 for 10% off. Okay, Stream 10 is the code. STREAM10. It'll give you 10% off the order. And of course, all those proceeds go to help paying for Brownie's bills. I was a teen. I just want to know what it was. And I effed around and found out. That's fair. I actually got the build to 900, though I'm rocking a 7600X and A750. Cool, man. Congrats. That's very cool. How about a tech review of that amazing handheld you gave away in the Brownie stream, please? Dude, there's nothing to review there. That thing sucks. I'm sorry. It's funny, but it's not amazing. But for the tech review stuff, so how it works is that companies will reach out to me and they will say, a lot of them are garbage, truly. They'll say, hey, we have a product and we want to advertise it on your channel. And I will say, no, generally. I'm telling you, it is some garbage stuff. So here's how that works. A little peek behind the curtain for tech tubers, if y'all aren't familiar. Let's say, let me see. Most of the time, the companies who email me are selling this. Cables and hubs and other garbage. Things that basically they have no creativity whatsoever. They're just an OEM slapping their name on it. And then I say, okay, yeah, pay me, right? Because if I'm going to advertise something as stupid as this, I better be getting paid. And I would say 99% of the time, they are like, no. And then I go, well, why would I advertise for you then? And they're like, but we're giving you the cable. I'm like, so? I don't want a cable. You know what I mean? And so that's usually how, and then the conversation ends there. And so this is because most of these companies are I say companies, they are companies, I suppose. They're overseas. They pay someone a very small amount of money, basically like $200 a month, maybe less than that. I know their salaries. And they say, every content creator you sign up to advertise this, we will then give you money. And they'll so basically they can't pay me because the money's going to them, right? And so they tell every content creator you can get to make videos on this for free, we will give you something. And so their whole salary is based on this. But the person who's working for free is the creator, right? And so 99% of the time I just say no because I don't want to advertise this crap. But there are some times where they are like, hey, we have an interesting product. We can send to you. And if you want to talk about it, you can. If not, that's okay too. But we just want to send it to you. And sometimes if I think the product is interesting enough, I will say yes. And then if they... but you can't always say yes to free stuff because I know that sounds exciting. It's like, yeah, they're just sending you free stuff, right? That's awesome. The problem is that once you have their free stuff, they will email you every day. I've had many times where they will send me something and legitimately every single day for like a month, they will say, hey, how's it going? Where's our video? You promised a video. And I'm like, well, I didn't promise a video. I said, if I have time, maybe I'll take a look at it. It's like every day. They're like, give us an update. I'm like, if I knew you were going to do this, I wouldn't have accepted it, right? So very rarely do I accept it. And if they do that, I usually say, hey, I'm not going to do it if they're annoying. But there are some products I received that aren't cool enough to make a whole video on, and they didn't want to pay, which is fair sometimes. But I said, if I have time, I'll do it. And there are some products here that I want to take a look at with y'all that I thought were pretty cool, and it might make for good stream content. But none of these people are paying me. I'm not getting anything. So I just thought it'd be fun to talk about. So that's kind of like the whole process of how it goes. At least you aren't hawking Raid Shadow Legends. But Dylan, I would. That's what you don't understand, Dylan. If Raid Shadow Legends paid me a large sum of money, I would do it. Lol, advertise my crap? No. But we will give you one crap for free? Still no. That's like literally what they do. It's crazy, and it's like actual crap. It's like not good stuff. It's very frustrating. Facts. One company did that to me, and they wanted it live in 2 days. Oh yeah, dude. They have some. They think you're just sitting around and waiting for like videos don't happen that quickly. Literally, they will like the second it arrives at my door, they are like, "Hey, we saw that it got delivered. So is the video gonna go live tomorrow?" I'm like, "What do you think is happening? They have no idea of how content creation works or anything." I'm like, "No, dude, that's not happening." And they push and they push and they push, and so you always have to push back because they don't care. They're just trying to make some money. Hi, I made a PC with an RX 580, a Ryzen 5 5600, 1 terabyte SSD, and 32 gigs of RAM for $400. Is that good? Yeah, sure. Why not? Thanks for adding the price. Sounds good. Yeah, Sleepy Mushrooms got the idea. Yeah, is it done yet? Is it done yet? It's very annoying. But I do have 4 products here that we can talk about that I want to talk about because this first one I'm like very interested in. Have y'all ever heard of this company? New? Ever? This is a company. They've emailed me a few times, and I have worked with them in the past. But I looked this company up because I was for sure that this was an overseas company. But then if you look into it on Wikipedia, this is a phone company that is like partly owned in the States, like in Texas, and then like partly owned by a Chinese company. It's kind of confusing. I'm not sure how they handle it, but this is a budget cell phone company. They make incredibly cheap phones, and they sent me this one. And originally I was going to say no, but this is a $100 cell phone, and I was looking at the specs and I was like, pretty good. I mean, that's surprising. So I charged it just to make sure, and I kind of like I logged into it and I did all that stuff, but I haven't done much other than that because I was pretty surprised. This is $100, and this is like a it doesn't feel like plastic. This feels like metal, but I think it is. I think it's just like a good plastic because it just I don't know. It doesn't feel like a premium phone. But I'm just like for $100, this looks pretty good. It's got a big screen. I think it's an AMOLED screen. Uh, yes. This is a 6.5. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is a 6.5-inch IPS screen. Okay, it's not AMOLED. It's IPS. I know some of their more expensive ones have AMOLED. This one. Y'all can see. This is the N20. It has 6 gigs of RAM, so a little bit less than like a good phone, and 128 gigs of internal storage, and a 5,000 milliamp battery. Okay, but for $100, I mean that's crazy. All right, let me turn it on though so we can see. It feels good. I will admit. I don't have a lot of experience with cheap phones, but it feels good in my hand. Like it feels like a premium phone. If you handed this to me, I wouldn't feel like feels like a cheap phone. Every cheap phone I felt is like really plasticky and creaky. This doesn't feel like that. It feels good. Like that's why I was so surprised by it. Jason's new burner phone, pretty much. Fake iPhone 11. Does this look like an iPhone 11? Is that what this looks like? I wouldn't put it past them. But no, this runs Android. Let me see. Here we go. I'm gonna try to get it so that I don't want it to get blown out. I'm trying to show it. I should have done 2 cameras today, huh? Here we go. This is like this is a wallpaper engine. I just wanted to see if it could do it without like bogging the phone down. And it's pretty good. Pretty nice screen actually. I'm saying it's like surprisingly good for $100. I was blown away. I was like, dude, how can we do this for $100 these days? And it runs like a really really stock version of Android, which I prefer. I actually don't like all the flavors of Android. I just like the basic one. Pretty cool. I didn't realize phones that were $100 could be good. I would say the downside of this is the CPU is like really crappy, right? And it's got less RAM, and it's got all that. It's just the specs itself are bad. Everything inside is pretty good, uh, but it seems like the CPU is not great. What is it? People who know about phones probably know about this. Okay, I'm not sure of the the CPU, but generally that is like what sucks on these things. Like the CPU is going to be very bad generally. So I wanted to boot up a Call of Duty game and see if it looks like garbage. I guess it's got to update. But I'm saying you guys are like tech enthusiasts. So what phones do y'all use? Is there anyone here? I know because y'all are also like budget minded. You know what I mean? Like I know some of y'all have like really nice computers. Some of y'all have kind of lower end stuff. But in terms of phones, do y'all buy flagship phones, or do you like look into the cheap Chinese market and stuff? Because I didn't know phones could be this cheap. I'm blown away, to be honest. You try to trick us into all that awful phone game on your unsuspectful fans for something as meaningless as money? I'm shocked, appalled, taken aback even. Save up for an RX 6600 or use 5700X. Either of those GPUs will pair well with your 5600. True. Totally agree. Yeah, that's iPhone 11 style. It makes sense. A lot of these cheaper phones just kind of copy, and the flagship ones too sometimes. Of course, there's an anime girl in the wallpaper. I have a Fold 5. Pretty sure that's expensive, right? I have a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. So yeah, y'all do buy fancy phones. Dylan, your phone is worth like triple or more of your computer. Isn't that interesting? Like 4 times the amount. So you must be using your phone a lot, right? It's taking forever to download. I think on this you also don't get NFC, which so means if you want to use like not Apple Pay, Google Pay, or anything that's like touch, it doesn't have it. And I don't think this supports wireless charging, which is also like kind of the downside. So all those nice features you get from a newer phone are kind of gone. But I think honestly, for someone who doesn't use their phone that much but still wants to do all the basic stuff, like it can play games, it can do all that stuff. I'm pretty blown away. I'm gonna try out the game once it uploads and show y'all so we can test the CPU performance. But iPhone 12, I bought it when the iPhone 13 just released. I don't understand the folks that need to upgrade their phone every year. Pixel 9 Pro XL. Y'all all have like banger phones. My phone costs less than my GPU, but not by much. Yeah, you guys have banger phones. I'm surprised. To me, I don't need a $1,000 phone. I will say, being a techie, I do appreciate flagship phones for sure, but I don't think I would ever need the highest model because I don't play games on my phone. I would mostly do it because I like a nice camera and I like my phone to be responsive. So as long as the phone can do that, and I like a nice screen and I like NFC. It's like those are the important things to me. I use tap to pay for everything, so it has to have that. But I wouldn't need like the most expensive one. And I honestly kind of don't want a nicer phone these days. You know what I mean? I'm basic iPhone 14. What's basic about that? That's like an $800 phone, isn't it? Refurbed Pixel 8 for less than 300 does the trick. Nice, Derek. Yeah, I'm thinking about going into the Pixels actually. For a long time, I was kind of straying away from Google because they slighted me. But recently, I really liked their Google I/O report, and I want to talk about that in a little bit. And so I might be sliding back into Google. I can pay payments on my device. Maybe if I could do a subscription with my ISP on a PC, then maybe I would have a 1400 PC. Is that what Klarna's for, Dylan? Did you get Klarna? That's true. There are a lot of very easy ways to do monthly payments on cell phones, mostly because in America we buy them through our phone providers. So yeah, a lot of very easy ways. Yeah, that's true. I wonder if they would ever do it through the ISP. That'd be so silly. Put this here. I have a Google Pixel 3a. Nice. That's old, isn't it? Because aren't they on 9? So you have a 3a? Let me see. When did that come out? Oh, it's not that old. 2020. No, 2019. Okay, it's not that old. Did they skip a few numbers? Oh, I guess they do one every year. Yep. Got it. It just, whenever you hear the number 3 and then they are at 9, it sounds like a longer time, but that tracks. Mr. C&D, what is up, man? How are you doing, man? Don't do Pixel. My son got screwed. How did he get screwed on a Pixel? There are many people in the chat who have a Pixel. Is this installed yet? Okay. Let's guest it up. When did Call of Duty become like anime babes? What is this? What is going on? How, that's not Call of Duty. What is that? Okay. I've never played Call of Duty Mobile. I just thought it'd be quick to jump into a game or some bots or something. It's trying to teach me how to pick a gun. I'm just clicking buttons. Come on. Come on. Let's play. Okay. No. Is there a quick play? Oh, here we go. Getting into a game. How big do you think the screen is for the phone you're displaying? This is a 6.5. So it's pretty big. This is a 6.5 inch, but the downside is that it's an IPS screen, and that's kind of where they cut corners. You can kind of see some frame rate drops even just like going through there, huh? Did y'all see that? I'm not sure what this game's supposed to look like, but that did not look great. Oh no. Oh, there you go. It figured it out. I think you can change settings, right? Okay, so it's gonna look low because I'm streaming at 30 FPS, but I believe, wow, does it automatically shoot for you? That's playable. Yeah. Once it fixed out those hitches, that's not bad. This is a $100 phone, and don't people pay like $1,000 for like a gaming phone? I died. I must be playing against bots. There's no way they didn't kill me faster. How do people play this? I bet this does good with emulation too. I bet this could play up to like GameCube. That'd be pretty sick. I'm doing this backwards, so it's hard to control. Oh, it does it anywhere. Interesting. Hey, shoot that guy. Shoot that guy. Hey. Y'all have no idea how hard this is. I'm doing this backwards, okay? It's backwards and upside down because I'm staring at the screen. Oh, they're here. No. I will say it's playable, actually. I don't see any problem with that. Why would people pay $1,000 for a gaming phone when you can play on a $100 phone? That's crazy. Let me go to the home page. Oh, I have it upside down. Did it bog down even though the games are still running? No, that still looks pretty good. I'm impressed, I'll admit. Like, I don't know if this is a good phone. I'm not saying it's a good phone, but just on the front cover for $100, man. I thought $100 only bought you like the crappiest crap. This is not bad. I'm like pretty impressed, actually. It can obviously play 4K and stuff. Pretty cool. This is pretty good. if someone wants Android and if they want like a premium feeling thing and they only have $100, and it's like $100 on Amazon, you don't have to go to AliExpress or something. Pretty good. Not bad. Have you ever heard of this company? NUUU. NUU. In Chinese, this stands for cow. But it's not spelled like this. Interesting. His Pixel kept breaking down, and they would repair it a couple times, and they claimed it had water damage and refused to repair it. I took it to a local repair guy, and he couldn't find any water damage. They voided our warranty, and we were stuck with a phone that was less than 6 months old and essentially a brick. Also, there's no customer service number for Pixel. That sucks, man. Sorry about that. I don't even game on my phone or take pictures. But why is your phone so expensive then? What do you do on it? Read Reddit? I bought my mom a Pixel. She's 60. I should have got her one of the phones that only call home or help. Yeah. Could she not handle the Pixel? I have found my mom's a little bit older than yours, and I have found for the longest time she used a cheap Android phone, and it was okay. But we switched her over to an iPhone SE, and truly that was a game changer. The iPhone for older people is harder to break, right? It's harder to break. It's harder to bog down. And it stays on top of things a little bit better than Android. And it was kind of a learning curve for like the first month, but she figured it out really quick, surprisingly. I don't know. I'm surprised. I think the iPhone's a great phone for old people. It worked for her. After years of using Android, she was like so happy to have an iPhone, and its integration with other people where you can like FaceTime and like everything gets back to really easily, and it just kind of works. Like she's not using obviously all of the extra stuff that Apple people would love, like the ecosystem and all that. But she loves that phone way better than she ever did some crappy Android phone. And it could be a situation where like people go from like crappy ThinkPad laptops that are like $100, and then they buy a $1,000 MacBook, and they're like, oh man, this is so much better. It's like, yeah, no crap. It costs $900 more. Like it's going to be better. So I wonder if she had a flagship Android phone, if she would have liked it more. But she never had a flagship. She always had kind of like, not like the cheapest of the cheap, but it was always like middle ground, I'd say. Yeah. Call of Waifu. Hayden Trent, what's up, Hayden? I blame my girlfriend for missing first part of stream. Just saying, bro, don't blame Rose on your inability to log in. Aren't you working? NUU makes Whitmer approve budget Android phones. You heard it here first. I don't want to say that. I don't want to give a Whitmer approval. This is like playing with it for like 5 minutes. I'm just saying it feels good. It's got a headphone port. That's rare. Who knows how good the camera is? Let's try the camera. Why is it asking to do a bunch of stuff just to use the camera? All right, let's see how good it can do in low light situations, because this is a pretty dark room. This is with HDR off. Okay. So that's where they save money. It's not going to come up very good on screen. It's not a great looking camera. I'll admit that does not look good. So if you are somebody who really, well, they have a lot of options actually. There's like a lot of really nice options to take video down here. You know, see, I got to hide my face so it doesn't focus on me. Oh, look at that. Perfect. It's got autofocus. You can change the ISO. There's a lot of phones that don't have this built in. So the fact that it has it built in is pretty cool. Huh. I kind of like that actually. Let's do portrait. Hello. Can I hit the dang picture button? Oh, it's very blurry. It didn't focus. Let's see. Focus on my face. There we go. There we go. All right. Having a hard time focusing. I wonder if that's an issue with the camera, or maybe I just cleaned the lens. Maybe it's just dirty. That's its usual thing, right? Whoa, whoa! Too close, too close. It's like zoomed in. Here we go. Here we go. Now, if you notice, it has a good white balance because this is a very dark room. And notice when it looks at me, it just looks like crap, and then it brightens up because it focuses. Okay, the lens was dirty. That was the problem. Okay. Okay. It's okay. Not a great photo. It's kind of not very sharp, I would say. Very last gen kind of photo, kind of very 2019 kind of photo. So these cameras are not going to be the best, but I mean, they take a photo and you can see everything in the photo. You can tell what this is, right? So I guess that's where they save money. Can I do 8K? That'd be amazing if we could do 8K. Can I not even change? It can do 60 FPS? Okay, so it cannot do 4K. It only does 1080, 720, 480, which is okay. I mean, like I said, it's a cheap phone. It does 1080. It can do 30 FPS, but what? Not 60? I think it means 60. Is that a typo? Because yeah, I mean, it's not going to show up on screen. Interesting. Maybe I should make a whole video using this phone. That does not look great. That is not great. It's okay. It's $100. You get what you pay for. For $100, I think it's okay. And just like my 5-minute review of the new. That's the camera software issues. The lenses themselves are probably standard. Okay, yeah, then the software is not great. But I don't know. It feels good in my hand. I mean, I would be okay with using this if it had NFC. Truly, I use Google Pay for everything, so I have to have it. I cannot not have it. So that would be the one thing for me that is keeping me from using this phone is that I need NFC, unfortunately. And you can put in the SIM card here. I know a lot of newer phones still have eSIM now. I don't know if it supports eSIM, but it has a headphone port. It's pretty rare. Pretty rare. Pretty cool. Good job, new. I think it's okay. What's up, Jason? What's up, Mark? How you doing, man? Base take for real. Phone games are so cheap. Yeah, or free. I sideload emulators and do a lot of custom stuff with my phone. I use routines, and a lot of my stuff is automated. I run my TV and some appliances, and even my thermostat on my S24 Ultra. Nice. But here's the thing, Dylan. You're free to buy whatever phone you want. I'm not telling you shouldn't buy an expensive phone. I feel like other than the emulators, I feel like every phone can do all of those things, right? And even this phone could probably do emulators up to a certain point, obviously. But I understand what you're saying. I think what you're trying to say is that it's not that your phone can't do it. It's that you want a good phone to be able to do it well, snappy, and be more reliable than a cheap phone, right? And so because all of those things are very important to you, you want to spend a little bit more money on your phone to make sure you have that kind of backup, right? So I think I get that, yeah. Totally understand. If you tie a lot of things to your phone, it can be kind of worth it to pay a little bit more if it's really important to you. The only reason I go with the Pixels is because of the good trade-ins if you buy directly from Google. Oh, nice. Bomberman music, woo. Hell yeah, dude. Okay, so that's the new phone. Pretty cool. Here, I told them I would put a link to it. Don't feel compelled to buy it. I don't make any money off of this. But just because they were nice enough to send me a phone to look at. Oh no, tariffs got it. This phone was $100 when I looked at it a few weeks ago. It's $130 now. It's still good. Let's be honest. It's $130. So I'll drop a link just in case y'all want to take a look at it. N20 new phone. Boom. So thanks, shout out to New for sending that. That was nice of y'all. And shout out to New for not bothering me, because I've had this for like 2 months and they've sent me like one email like saying like, hey, how's it going? Which is respectable. I think I respect companies that don't bother me. Okay. So it's pretty good. Plus, with my 4K screen, your handsome mug is glorious. Hell yeah. Well, Dylan, check this out. If you hold the phone up to your mouth and you kiss it, and I kiss my camera, it would be like we're kissing. Is that something that you'd be interested in? Let's go to the next thing. So, when it comes to getting emails for stuff, I said that a lot of them are like cables, right? A lot of them truly are cables or like USB hubs or just crap. The level above that are mini PCs. There are hundreds of mini PC manufacturers shoving their face, their name on a mini PC. So many, truly. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Send me a mini PC that has like a really good gaming CPU. I'll take a look at that. That sounds interesting. And they're like, no, we want to send you a CPU that has dual core from 10 years ago in a mini PC. And they honestly think they're cooking. They're like, you can do whatever you want with it. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? Every N95 or J4000 CPU or whatever, like all these Celeron CPUs, mini PCs, they have a place, especially in home labs, where I think I do own one and use one. But outside of that, I don't recommend them for daily use. I don't recommend them for basically anything other than headless usage in a home lab because they're very low wattage. So they're pretty cool for that. But none of them are special. You look at one N100 mini PC, you've seen them all. They're all very, very similar. It's crazy. But I do like them. But the problem is that I get so many messages about them. I'm like, I don't want to look at this. So unless there's something special in them, I don't look at them. So, but this one was special. This one is from another Chinese company, and this actually has an N150. So the thing about this that is special is that it does not have a fan. So this is a fanless mini PC. And so what that means is that this is going to be dead silent. You're not going to hear a fan kick on. You're not going to hear anything. And for a lot of people, I think having one of these as like their home server, like people really want quiet PCs. If this is sitting in their living room, they don't want a fan spinning up all the time. People really like quiet. And that's literally what they call this. This is it's Chinese, Mala, which I don't know what that means. Quieter 4C. This has an N150 chip, which is, I think, not as good as the N100, but it's, it's pretty similar. 16 gigs of RAM, half a terabyte of storage. Pretty good. And I thought this one was interesting because it doesn't have a fan. And it's in a different form factor. So if y'all have ever seen mini PCs, they are quite small. But this guy is a little bit smaller. And it takes like a kind of a different form factor. There's a little paper here that explains how they get the heat out. And basically all of this stupid paper, do you know what this is saying? Heat rises. That's it. Basically, they're saying that the whole case itself is a giant heat sink and heat rises out of it. They've made this whole stupid paper to say that heat rises, because I think people who buy this and they know it doesn't have a fan, they go, well, how does the heat get out? And they like make this little chart for people. But like, let's be honest, we already knew that. But does it run AAA games at 4K Ultra? That's an emulation box. I would actually say this is not an emulation box. This would play. Let me take it back. This would be an emulation box if you wanted to play NES, SNES, basically maybe even PS1. I think PS1 and N64 might suffer because there's no fan, and truly, like this, the chip can handle it, but without without a fan, I think you might get throttling. But I was gonna say, but maybe I haven't tested it. That's just my guess. But look how thin this is. Look at this weird form factor. This is a PC. Isn't this crazy? Old heads in here. It's a whole ass PC with 4 cores and 4 threads in the palm of my hand that runs off of like 5 watts of power. Insane. You know what I mean? And because there's no fan, they can streamline it. So let me compare this to another mini PC. Okay, so this is another mini PC that wasn't going to be a part of this, but this is an upcoming video for a real emulation box. So this is running a Ryzen 7 8845HS, which is like a really good APU in these little mini PCs. So this is what usually mini PCs like that look like, because they've got cooling, and I mean it's small. Don't get me wrong, but compared to this guy, this is crazy. Look at this. I'm going to hold up the side profile. This is what you get when you don't need cooling. Pretty crazy. It is significantly smaller. I would say 20% the size, maybe smaller. Pretty crazy. And I have not installed anything on this yet, but I did plug it in just to see it idle and see what it does. And yes, Robert, can I put my burrito on top to keep it warm? This whole thing, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. This is like a rough surface for the heatsink, because this is all a heatsink. So this is all metal, and you can kind of see on the edges. They kind of try to make it look good, but this is just one giant heatsink. That's what this is. So literally, this will get hot, and that's kind of the problem, right? But the N150 is such a low power chip. I think it'd be okay. Like, you don't need to have a fan. As long as you have a big heatsink and you are in a room that's air conditioned, this will be just fine. And dude, this fits on the back of a monitor so nicely. Let's check out the I/O. Can I get a nice little focus there? I gotta hide my face because it likes to focus on faces. All right, we've got 2 HDMIs, a USB-C, 2 USB-Cs, wow. A headphone port, gigabit Ethernet. Wow, 2 USB-Cs, that's surprising. Oh my gosh. And 3 USB-As on this side. That's pretty good. So if you wanted like an absolutely silent PC in a room meant to be like a screensaver or something, I think it's pretty cool. That's why I accepted this one, because like I said, I don't normally look at mini PCs, but I thought this was really interesting. This is like super small, totally fanless, an actual quiet PC. I think this is amazing. I don't know the performance of it without a fan. I know the performance of an N150, and for a home lab stuff, it's like fantastic, perfect, amazing. And you can even do game streaming on it. But again, I don't know without a fan. But as long as you're in an air-conditioned room, I think it should be okay. It's not going to overheat or anything. I just wonder if it would thermal throttle, but the N150 doesn't get hot. Like, it's like a very, very low power chip. So, man, it's just crazy, right? Look at this. Amazing. Very thin. So how I use N1, like these little mini PCs, not this one. These cheap little mini PCs, these are usually like 100 to 150 bucks. Obviously, they work as great backup PCs. Sometimes your PC just goes down, but you have to get on a Windows PC, right? Or Linux or whatever. So I like using them for that. But I also have one as my, I use it as a break fix machine. It's where I dump everything I want to work on, and I don't care if it works or not for my home lab. So I'll right now I'm testing Proxmox on it, and it's hosting a bunch of stuff, but it's not like good stuff. It's like, I don't care if it breaks is the kind of thing. So it's like a learning environment for me. And I use it as a chance to try things before putting it into my system, because I don't want to break anything, right? So I'm okay with breaking the software on there. And it's great because it's got a ton of I/O on it, and it's not this exact one, but it's something similar. It actually has a fan, but I think this is pretty cool. I like this kind of innovation, something different, right? I like different stuff. because you have no idea how many mini PC manufacturers email me, and they all are selling the same crap. Look at this sweet mini PC with a banging new Ryzen CPU. It's a 3200G. Yes, you'd be surprised. You versus the guy she said tells you not to worry about. Dude, so true. Look, this is me. This is you guys. What's going on, chat? What's up, Drew? How's it going, man? Nathan, sorry for being late, bro. Bro, Nathan, never apologize for being late. We're having a stream on a day we don't even stream on. This is just this week, guys, by the way. I'd like it. I would put it inside of my PC. Damn. There's so many fans inside there. That could actually work. That, you know what? That's an interesting idea. Having your home lab inside your PC in a different computer. So like mounting this somewhere inside your case, and you don't need fans because there's already a bunch of airflow inside your gaming PC. Oh, but it's pretty hot in there. So there's airflow, but it's still pretty hot. I think this would have, maybe on top, you mount this to the outside, because it does have VESA mounting points. And the idea, and it comes with a mounting stuff. So the idea is to mount this on your back of your monitor as your main PC is kind of like an all-in-one. I don't know, I just find this super interesting for people who have home labs or home servers. I think this is pretty cool. And I've had this for a while, so sorry to them for not making a video on it, but it is cool, I'll admit, but it's like not cool enough to make a dedicated video on, right? It's just like a little mini PC. This would be pretty cool. Like, where would y'all put this? Thanks, bro. We'll have to catch up with the start of the stream later. For sure, dude. Always love to have you here, Nathan. Hayden says, I used to have a mini PC that ran media from my TV on top of my PC where the top fans vented to keep it cool. That's perfect, actually. This is exactly what that would be for. On the outside of your PC and like, oh, here we go. So what you're saying, the top fans are venting. So it's actually venting hot air. So it's still fine. But I think, what if you put this on the intake? And so their fans on the inside of your computer are intaking cold air and it's helping this get some cool air. And it's actually more hidden right underneath your computer if that's where your intake is. Pretty cool. That'd be really interesting. Put a couple of these in a set and just strap a giant 120 millimeter fan on it. That'd be so sick. My PC inside of another PC is a goal. This would, something like this would work actually, yeah, because there's no fan. Like, yeah, I'm trying to think about it. You could just do that and it would be fine. This is not a high wattage CPU. It'd be totally fine. But yeah, that's why I wanted to look at this. Mini PCs are cool, but they're not cool enough to do anything. Now the air wasn't that hot coming out. Really, I put pick in Discord. I'll check it in a second, dude. But yeah, if y'all want to check this out, this is the Melee Quieter 4C. And wow, it comes with 16 gigs of RAM and half a terabyte of storage. It's pretty good. For a mini PC, you don't need that much. So I'll drop a link for y'all just because they were nice enough to send it out. But again, buy it or don't buy it. I don't care. I don't make money from it. Oh, okay. It's kind of expensive, actually. That's the N100. Okay, so most of these are... Okay, so it's hard to compare. So when people look at N100 CPUs, they usually, best case scenario, it's going to be like $100. Like if it's on sale and you get lucky, and that'll usually be 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, right? This has half a terabyte of storage, so way more, and it has 16 gigs of RAM. Okay, and it has an N150, so this is actually about $200 on Amazon. So a little bit pricier, but you do get more storage, you do get more RAM, and it is a fanless design. So I would say compare it. It's like a $40 more than like maybe $30 more than like one with a fan. So it's up to you. But I don't know. I think people who see this and they're like, finally, a quiet PC. It's like that's all they really wanted. There's some people who are like obsessed with it. So if you want it, I'll drop a link. It's called the Meal Quiety Fanless Mini PC. I've never seen one that small, so it's perfect. Yeah, dude, this is like a Raspberry Pi. I'm very surprised by like how small it is. It's crazy. I was gonna crack it open, just to see what we're working with, but I think that takes too much time. But it's only 4 screws, so it wouldn't be that hard to change out the RAM and the SSD. I wonder if the RAM is soldered on. Does it say? It does not say. It just says RAM. Still pretty cool. And no, PC wasn't on the floor, was on a vented stand that had it about 5 inches off the floor. Okay, interesting. That's cool, man. Okay. I need a hydrate break. My big straw. I drink like a child. Okay, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, guys, if you are just coming in, I talked about this earlier, but I made some new merch. We have GPU hats in different configurations. Let me see. Boom. If you want to pick one up, you can use the code STREAM10 to get 10% off. That's just for you guys. Don't tell anyone, okay? And we have it in green, red, and blue. But if you also want to change the color of the hat, you can do that. We have khaki, have pink. And I designed this myself, and I love it. I think they're so sick. Pretty cool. And of course, all proceeds go to paying Brownie's bills because we still got those coming. Oh yeah, I feel I didn't know this. A lot of people don't even know I have this. The Big Deck Energy shirt. I made this about a year ago, back when I was making a lot more Steam Deck content. I've worn this in public a lot and I've gotten a lot of compliments. People love it. Anytime people see me in it, they know exactly what's going on and they like absolutely love it. And then yeah, this one as well has different colors. This is the best seller actually. I don't know why. People love this pink. Or not pink, I'm sorry. This violet. It's not pink at all, it's purple. Am I crazy? Were you able to find out they offer FlexFit baseball hats? Yes, Reluctant Hero. They offer something like that, but I don't feel comfortable putting it out until I test the quality of it. So I will get back to you. But they do have something similar to it, yeah. Because I'll admit, I am generally when I wear a hat, I go towards what you're saying as well. Those are the fit that I prefer. But previously, I forget why I picked this one. I think this one had better reviews. Like people really liked this one the most, and so I was like, and I tried it out. I was like, yeah, it's not too bad actually. I kind of like it. So let me get back to you, and yeah, that's the next goal. I love the new merch designs. I'll definitely be thinking about getting some soon. Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, for sure. I always want to just put my own designs on it because I love designing stuff, and I'm really proud of this one. I think it's really fun and just simple, right? Nothing on the back, just the front, just a simple little design. Well, until then, I'll do the Mac Mini on my PC. Classic. By the way, if you want to get crazy, make a low-profile GPU logo. Some people love it, especially in the Dell community. You could put "Go Low" under it. That'd be funny. I bet Casey Walls would love that. He loves that kind of stuff. My local pawn shop has a Steam Deck in stock, and I know I can get a good deal. What is a good price on a used Steam Deck? I think it depends on if it's an OLED and depends how much storage it has. If it has 64 gigs of storage, so it means it doesn't have an SSD, and this is like the baseline Steam Deck, I would say a good deal would be 200 to 250. I personally wouldn't pay $300 for a used one just because there's so many options these days. It doesn't mean it's not worth it. It's just like you're saying a good deal, right? So I'd say if you can get away with 250, that would be nice, but you're probably going to want to upgrade the storage on it because 64 gigs is nothing. And it's not even an SSD, it's eMMC. But Steam Decks are really cool. Yeah, I love handhelds. I don't have a Steam Deck anymore. I mostly just use a Legion Go, but I love it. I use it almost every day. Yeah, I've been playing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag on it a lot lately for the first time. Super fun game. I kind of slept on it in the past, but I kind of like it. It was kind of fun. Although it is like, people make fun of Banjo Kazooie for being a collectathon. No, Assassin's Creed 4 is a collectathon. My gosh, like it is such an open world and there's so much crap to gather to 100% it. You have to just there's so much content and it's crazy. Like there's so much stuff to find. If for people who like to go and find stuff, it is nuts. If you just want a world where you can run around it and go find stuff, like find treasure and like unlock stuff, man, there's so much stuff in that. AC4 is kind of slept on for real. It's kind of nice. I kind of like it. I don't know about the story or whatever, but the gameplay itself is fun. It's like a nice mixture of everything. It's the only Assassin's Creed I have found bearable since the first one, because I tried to play the second one, and one of my pet peeves in Assassin's Creed game is when you try to run up a wall, or you accidentally run at a wall and it tries to climb it, but it knows it can't climb it. So then it does this little thing where it's like, and you fall. I hate that. And you're trying to run away from someone and you run into a wall and you go, and you like I hate and you're trying to climb a lot of walls, and in 2 not every wall was climbable. They did a better job in 4. I feel like most stuff is climbable within reason, and so I don't experience that as much, and so it's significantly better than 2. I could not stand 2, even though I know people 2 is like their favorite one in the whole series, but I personally couldn't do it. Nintendo eShop music? That's awesome. Let's just listen to copyrighted music. What a banger. Nintendo's got some good music. Soldroy, what's up, man? How are you? The ship combat in AC4 inspired the world's first quad A game, dude. Skull and Bones. I do like the ship combat. It gets repetitive after a while, but early on in the first like 15 hours, super fun. I loved it. I loved just driving around, destroying other ships and boarding them, and super fun. Yeah, I liked it a lot, actually. It felt really good to drive a ship. I like games where you are driving big things and they make it feel like you're driving small things. So, like, for example, you're driving a giant ship in Assassin's Creed 4, but they make it feel kind of seamless. It doesn't feel like you're driving a giant ship, and it doesn't feel like you're like zipping around. They do a good job of it. And in Titanfall 2, when you are driving the giant mechs, you don't feel like you're like in a giant robot. You feel like you're just a person, and it just feels really good. It's hard to explain that. It just doesn't feel all clunky. It just feels like an extension of what you're already doing, which is pretty cool. I think they do a good job in both those games, and I love games that they're able to take these huge things that you're driving and make them feel more personable and like more like an extension of just running around normally. AC4 Black Flag is my fave. Nice. I've been liking it. I've only played the original Assassin's Creed, so it is also my favorite so far. And thinking back to Assassin's Creed 4, I think the only collectible in that game was the flags, right? Or like there's like a side thing to collect, and that was it, as far as I remember. But there's so much in AC4. Oh my god, there is so many things to do. It's crazy. Like going treasure hunting, pulling up maps, like trying to find the exact spot, and like all these things to unlock. I can only imagine that 100% of that game takes so long. One thing I don't like is that it has online integration. So like it was kind of based around being online and like competing with your friends who are playing it. I don't care about any of that. But other than that, it's pretty fun. Flags and Templars. Okay, yeah. What, to kill Templars from the list? I do remember that. Okay, I have one more thing I think I wanted to show off, and these people have been very patient. So in October of last year, this company sent me this product. and I didn't really need it, but they kind of insisted. So if any of y'all are familiar with this brand, Edifier, who knows Edifier? They are semi-famous for making kind of high-quality, cheap computer speakers. They do speakers. That's usually what they do. And I have my main speakers on my computer are Edifier. I paid for them. I do like them. They're pretty good. And one thing I never knew I needed, or I didn't even know I won't, is just a big ass speaker. And what I have found that since like 2012 or 2013, every speaker feels like it has to be on batteries, right? Like every speaker you see now is like a Bluetooth speaker that has a built-in battery, and I'm like, I don't want that. I want like a big speaker. And so I've used this at a few events, which has been fun when we have people come over. And this, I'm not going to play the sound because it's pretty loud. It does sound pretty good. It's got really nice bass just being within a contained thing, I will say. But one thing I really like it is that it has a very cool design when it plays music. Let's see if I can get it turned on. Whoa. And so it will like have a light show compared to the music. It's got a little clock down here. This plays like how much left is on the song. I like that. It's kind of getting blown out by the camera. It's not this obnoxious in real life, I promise. I'm looking at it right now. But it usually goes to the music that you're playing on. And it's just refreshing to have a speaker that is big enough so that it's got like some real power on it, if any of those audiophiles out there. But it's also not a portable, like on battery powered, like it runs on AC power, right? And it does have Bluetooth, obviously, and it does aux, it does USB, it does all that stuff. But it has enough power to actually do what you want to do. Let me see. You can change the light effects. Whoa. Oh yeah, you can crank it, or you can tone it down a little bit. Or turn it off. Yeah. I like it. We used this at an event. It was pretty nice. But I will say this is too big to like use in a bedroom, because even like the quietest setting is like very quite loud. So this is not like a, oh, I got this to play music in my room and I don't want to disturb the rest of my house. They're probably gonna feel this. This is more of like a, I want people to hear my music kind of stuff. But I like the design of it. It's nice and heavy. The outside is a bit plastic, but it's a little bit it has that like shiny plastic on the outside. Feels pretty hefty. Definitely has some nice bass, some nice lows. The highs are fine, and this is kind of pricey as well. So this is kind of only for people who really, really want like a big ass speaker. You know what I mean? So shout out to them for sending to me in October, which is a long time from now. Sorry, Edifier. You guys have been super patient, and that's on me. Luckily, they did not bug me every day. They bug me like once every 3 months, which is fair. So I owe it to them to say a what up to them, because I actually do like Edifier. I like their computer speakers especially, but this guy has been pretty good. Dylan says, I have the Creative Pebble with the subwoofer. It sounds great, and the price is really good. People love the Pebbles, dude. Like I've heard a lot of really good things. Oh, if it's that obnoxious loud, my in-laws would love it. Yeah, perfect, dude. You get this. It can get annoyingly loud. It's surprisingly, like, despite how small it is, it gets very loud. That's what I was saying. Like, you could play it in your room, but even the lowest setting, I think, is like a little bit too loud for most people. But maybe that's just me. Hey, buddy. We have a visitor. Where? Hey, buddy. Say hi. You guys know Brownie. Brownie is feeling much better these days. Oh, he hates it. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Shout out to Edifier. I like their speakers. I think they do a good job, and their stuff's not too pricey. this is a little expensive, but I think for what you get, it's a pretty good deal. And I will link to it in the description. But again, don't feel compelled to buy anything. I just, they were nice enough to send it. This is the Edifier QD35. Okay, so it's about 230, and then you can buy it used for like 180. Oh no, there's a 200 one too. I wonder what the, oh, it's white and black. The white one's cheaper, nice. W Brownie. Brownie has entered the chat. Yay for Brownie. It's that boy, president of the house, Brownie. So true, dude. He's doing something. He likes to sneak in here and be naughty. Oh, I think he jumped in the box outside. That's what he's doing. Oh, I have one more item, actually. My bad. One more thing. It's kind of crazy that high-end sound cards have become niche. I don't understand why, considering advancements in sound for music, games, and computer movies. Yeah, the problem is that most people don't listen to music on their computers anymore. Most people don't even use computers. And people who use computers for, like, music creation or all that stuff, they're using Macs, like Macintosh. So they don't need that. So yeah, it's kind of out there. Krusty, Jason, hey man, what's up, Krusty? How's it going, man? Good to see you. The only recent game that I haven't minded collecting in is the first Insomniac Spider-Man game. I got all the backpacks. I usually hate collectathons. I feel like every open world game is a collectathon. Isn't that kind of the point? It's kind of like once you get past all the stuff to do, it's just you just go and collect stuff. And but backpacks, that's one thing. In Assassin's Creed 4, you have treasure hunting. You have a bunch of side quests that are like assassin targets. You just have random boxes. You have this other system where you're like turning the camera to make it match on the floor so you can get keys. You have another system where you're going to get this. You have animus fragments. You have it's like truly so many things. You can go out. You can hunt sharks and whales. You can do just go out and fight other boats, and then the whole boat system. It's like you can tell them to go fight other ships, and you're just building out your ship. There's like so many systems in the game that there's like a lot of content. It is an insane amount of content. I actually can't believe it. It's just so much stuff. Let me know if you don't want to talk about this, but do you have any opinions on the game pricing stuff going on or any of the crazy stuff around Switch 2? I'm getting a Switch 2, making a video on it, mostly because sponsors stuff, and my wife will love it. But yeah, the game pricing, I think everyone was waiting for someone to do it, because I don't want to spend money on games. I don't think anyone does, right? No one wants to. But, I mean, back in the 90s, games were $50, and now they're $70. That is not a lot of inflation. You know what I mean? In like 30 years, we've only gone up $20 on brand new games. That's insane, frankly, in terms of inflation. Considering games cost nothing to make back then, and now they cost way more because it's harder to make high-end games because of graphics and the scope of things. Consider Mario 64, groundbreaking, amazing game. The overworld is just nothing. Compare it to Assassin's Creed 4. Compare the scale of those two games. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but in terms of like how much work goes into creating a modern game, it is a lot more. It takes more people, and we get to benefit from that, right? And so while I don't want to spend more money on games, obviously, I think spending $10 more, maybe even 20, is reasonable. I think once we hit that $100 barrier, then people are going to be kind of upset. I would say $100 is a lot of money for a game. And it's hard to say this game's worth $100 and this game's not. People bought Grand Theft Auto 5 13 years ago for $60, and they have thousands of hours in it. Thousands. They have played it every single day of their life since then. Was that game worth $60? Yeah. Was it worth $500? To that person, it absolutely was, right? But then on the turn, we also have free games. There never before in history is it easier to play a game. You can boot. There are games. The most popular games are free. You can go out and play League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Fortnite, all of these games that are actually really good. You can play them 100% for free. So while you are going to be spending more money on AAA brand new games, you are paying a premium to get them first, because games always go on sale within the first 1, 2, 3, 4 months, right? You're going to pay a little bit more to play it in the first month or two. And that's just the way it is. And then, but because, remember, you've played so many games for free for so long that the scales of how much money you've spent is always going to be in your favor compared to like the 90s and even the 2000s. So overall, TLDR, I want to pay less for games, but some games are worth extra money. And if you cost analysis leverage it with all the games you're playing for free nowadays, you're still spending less money. You know what I mean? And what Dylan's saying is good. There are a lot of games that cost less that are 1,000 hours. Think Balatro. Think Hades. Think Clair Obscura Expedition. All of these games cost less than that $70 price tag, and yet they are amazing. So it's going to be up to people to say, is this 10-hour crappy AAA game worth $80 to me? Probably not. Don't buy it. That's always my answer. Don't buy it. Just don't buy it. Just don't buy it. You can go online, complain all you want, but just don't buy it. No one's forcing you. Wait till it goes on sale, or don't buy it. There's so many games. You know what I mean? So like the best games you're going to play out there are games that they might even be cheaper. But maybe they are. Let's be honest. Breath of the Wild was $50 when it came out. People have thousands of hours in it. Was that game worth 50 or was it worth 100? Would you have paid $200 for it? A lot of people would have. But then you have games like, what's a recent game that came? Like Forspoken. That game came out $70 and it was like, 8 hours long and not very good. So, as always, it's going to be up to you to decide, is this worth $80? Was it worth 70? Is it worth 60? Is it worth 50? Because when Helldivers 2 came out and Palworld came out, you can get both of those games together for like, I think 70 or 60 together. And then they were comparing it to another AAA game that came out that was like, I think it was Skull and Bones. And so we have more options than ever. Play indie games, wait for sales, play free games, and you will play everything. You will have more games than you could ever imagine playing. People will still have money. They'll still be able to develop. And as long as you're feeding the machine and not pirating, which is a different story. I'm not talking about pirating right now. Things are going to be okay, right? I think people are kind of blowing up the price a little bit too much, but considering things are so much cheaper now, I mean, TVs back in the 90s were so expensive and they were so garbage. Now you can get a 50-inch flat screen for $200. It's amazing, right? The barrier to entry is so low to play so many. Yep, 7 out of 10 most played daily games on Steam are all free to play. Exactly, and that's awesome. Which leads to why 8 gig GPUs are still valid, free to play games. Yeah, they're totally still valid. Free games are mostly online multiplayer. That is very true. Which means they have longer replay value because you're playing, it's like the same thing on repeat. You're not just playing a story. They have bigger teams, longer back in development, etc. However, they utilize cash drops because humans innately want to be noticed and different, of course. They will shill out cash and keep those free games afloat. Yes, single player games often are completed and the teams move on to another project, yet they cost $70 to $80. They can't rely on microtransactions as much as free games. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so that is an unfortunate part of it because as much as I don't like microtransactions, again, I just don't buy them. You know what I mean? I think people love the Fortnite shop. They love buying skins, man. They go crazy for it. but yes, it is. It's becoming harder and harder for single player game devs to be able to stay afloat because all they can do is charge that single upfront fee. Like, and that's it. Most people, I mean, there's a reason why live service games are so popular. It's because they make a ton of money. And if you want to make a single player experience and you want to be profitable, it has to be on the scale and the level of like Baldur's Gate. And there's a reason Baldur's Gate is so good. It's because it's one of a kind. And so there's, for every Baldur's Gate, there's 50 single player AAA games that just aren't that great, but they still have to pay the bills. And so what are they supposed to do? They can't, like, well, they needed 2 more years. They can't really afford that. You know what I mean? Like, as game devs don't go into game development to make bad games. They want to try their hardest. They want to do the best. The problem is that it always comes down to money. That's what always happens. They run out of time or they run out of money and they can't do anything else. They have to release the game, and it kind of is what it is. And that's just like the reality of game development. Like, you need money to fuel the machine, and that's the problem. That's why Fortnite has new content almost every single day, and why they get an update every single week. It feels like they keep that game fresh and they keep it updated because people are feeding the machine. They're buying skins, they're doing all that. And so I am okay with cash shops as long as they're not predatory and they're not pay to win. If people want to buy a little skin, that's on them, right? That's their money. Go to their God. Like, nothing I can do there. And I appreciate that they do because they fuel the free games for the rest of us. So they're kind of doing the world a service. So shout out all the whales. A lot of the time, devs' hands are forced by shareholders finish or 9. Exactly, right? Devs want to make good games. They do. I know it doesn't sound like it. I know it sounds like they just want to make garbage. Truly, they want to make good stuff. And whenever good things don't get made, it's usually because of the people with money. That's just how it is. So I'm okay with spending another $10 on a game, $20 even, if I really like it and if it's going to support a developer that I like, and so that they can go on and make more good games that I like. I think it's okay. Because at the end of the day, I'm still spending so much less on games than I would have in the 90s or the 2000s or 10 years ago. Pretty crazy. One final point is that the games are mostly digital. They don't have to pay shipping, materials, retail spaces. First-party games even keep 100% of the proceeds. Yeah, for sure. That helps a lot, especially for computer games. And they don't have to pay to burn to a CD. They don't have to pay for retail space, like you said, shipping, all that stuff. Like, they can just send it, and that's great. But I think Nintendo does not have a reputation of making games that are not finished. They have the money to continue development until it's done, and so I respect the heck out of that, and I like that. And so if they want to charge a little bit more for their games, that's on them. It's on us. Do I think paying $80 for Donkey Kong is worth the money? I don't know. We'll have to see. Games might go on sale more at first, but people act like developers are just greedy, money-hungry monsters. The fact of it is that most game devs basically work for 5 years on a game without a single dollar of revenue, because where's the money coming from, right? They haven't made a game yet. They're making it, so there's no money. How are you supposed to pay 50 to 100 people without any money to make the game, right? And so basically, if that game flops, that's it for that developer. They don't have money to just start another game. They can't do this for another 5 years. They couldn't even do it for the last 5. So that's kind of the realities of the game development sector, and it's unfortunate, but that's kind of just how it is. And so just buy things that you want, and don't buy things you don't. Yeah, anyone can get a good TV now. It's amazing. It is amazing how cheap TVs are. Shout out to Wales. Shout out to Matt. Matt is keeping all these games afloat for the rest of us. You all saw what happened with CD Projekt Red and what shareholders did to Cyberpunk. They lost the goodwill and had to do a lot of mea culpas. Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason the team that made Clair Obscur is a bunch of Ubisoft devs. Yeah, it's just how it is. It's unfortunate. It just lets the big names like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo get more cash. Also, when buying a Switch 2, you literally just buy the license to play the console. It's in the TOS. Yeah, but you're also doing that on Steam. Darth, that's not unique to Nintendo. That's also Steam. That's every digital marketplace. That's a different story entirely, though. The story of physical versus digital. But yeah, I mean, remember, you're paying less because they didn't print it out. You're not paying $100 already. You know what I mean? So that's just how it is. But yeah, the digital versus physical thing is a totally different story, and they are. That's not just the Switch. It's everyone. It's Steam. That's just how it works. Yeah, I trust Steam though, not Nintendo. Why? Nintendo has been around for 100 years, and they've always done right by their customers. There's a reason they're the most trusted toy company in the entire world. Like, why not trust them? You think Nintendo's gonna turn around and you know what I mean? Like they have a lot of goodwill for stuff. Like they've done a lot of good stuff. Not perfect, but I don't see what the problem is. Basically, you shouldn't trust any company, right? But I trust Steam. Why trust Steam? What do you think Steam's gonna do? Gabe Newell is God. Let me tell you this, Darth. This isn't gonna happen because Steam is a private company and they're doing great. But if let me put it this way: Valve is a private company and they are printing money. They have no problem. There's not a good chance they're going to go out of business tomorrow. But whenever we're looking at levels of uncertainty when it comes to the economy, a company that's been around for 100+ years and has made so much money in the 90s and 80s that they are literally can last 50 years without earning another dollar. It's the only thing you cannot trust is that they're going to go to business. One issue is that Nintendo continuously gets new consoles, and that makes the old consoles irrelevant. So, like, you think about like the DS shop. Any games you bought on the DS digitally, you can't access anymore because they shut down the shop. That sucks, right? And on Steam, we're still on PC 2, so waiting for PC 3 to come out. That's a nice that makes it's a good thing for PCs is that everything is backwards compatible 40 years, which is sick. But again, that's not a Steam versus Nintendo thing. That's not a price thing. That's like a digital versus physical thing. So yeah, you don't own a single game on Steam, mate. Yeah, pretty much. That's I did see a story that Steam is looking to allow you to leave your catalog to heirs in a will. That'd be interesting because I know they kind of got some flack about it. Nintendo had brothels at one point. Steam made Half-Life. So what are you talking about? You don't think Gabe Newell's been to a brothel? Because Steam made Half-Life, they get a pass. Nintendo literally made Mario. Which one has been more influential on video games? It's gonna be Nintendo. Like, I love Steam, but if in the video game industry, which one has been more influential on video games as a whole? It's gonna be Nintendo. They wanted to make the game they wanted to make. Yeah, pretty much. Who wants to put me in their will? I'm good. Okay, last thing we're gonna talk about is this controller, which is the new controller I've been using. So I used to really like and only use first party controllers, I'll admit. I use first party controllers, and that's all I would use, Xbox primarily. But I have been dabbling in the world of third party controllers, and because they've gotten really good. I'll admit there was a time like even like 5 years ago where the only reason you would get a third party controller is because you couldn't afford a real one. And that was like 5 years ago. And now I've tried out a lot of ones that are like very cheap or maybe not so cheap, and they have a lot of stuff that the main ones don't. It's pretty cool. So this one is the 8BitDo Ultimate C, I think, Ultimate something. This is kind of their flagship product, but not their most expensive one. It does come with a charging dock, so you just throw it in the dock and it charges it. I've been using this as my main driver for a while now. And again, they did send this to me, but I kept it because I really liked it. And it feels like an Xbox controller, which is fantastic. It's a little bit smaller, but it has Hall effect joysticks, which none of the big guys have yet. PlayStation doesn't have it. Xbox doesn't have it. Nintendo doesn't have it. None of them have Hall Effect joysticks. And if you don't know what Hall Effect joysticks are, that means that these will never get stick drift because it's a different actuation method. It's impossible to, right? Doesn't mean they're not going to have other issues, but stick drift specifically will never happen. And Hall Effect, I've heard, is apparently more accurate and it's more precise and pinpoint. So I kind of like that. This one is in the Xbox style where it's like offset, and I like that a lot. D-pad feels good, not too clicky. I kind of don't like when it's really loud and it's like click, 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 click. I hate that because sometimes I'll play fighting games. Got the ABXY, 2 triggers. The trigger is a little bit clicky. I kind of like that there. This one, not so much, kind of soft. And then we have these, which are not on the new Xboxes as well. You get 2 extra buttons. Some people like this, some people don't. Renato, what's up, dude? He goes, I have that controller. It is fantastic. The Black Myth Wukong version. Hell yeah, dude. I love this thing. It's got this, and it feels really good. I don't know. It just feels good. It connects, you can do Bluetooth, or you can do 2.4 Wi-Fi. Pretty good. I use it over the Wi-Fi because I think it is a better stable connection. And I just keep it in my dock, and then when I'm ready to play, I pull it off. It automatically turns on, and I can just go. And I've only used this on PC, but I think it connects to other things as well. But I've only tried it on PC. And if you notice, there's something in the back here. If you see these 2 switches, these change these triggers. So depending on what you're playing, right now they go all the way down, right? So kind of like you're shooting a gun, right? People kind of want that that long travel distance. Like I had to push it all the way down. These change the actuation force on each one individually. So now it activates up here. And I don't know if you can hear, but it's a click. So instead of having to pull all the way down, the actuation force is much lower. So if you're playing a game where you don't want to have to pull all the way down, this is going to be able to allow you to pull this trigger even faster. And if you only want it on one side, you can only have it on one side. So you can activate it on what you want. This is really neat because I like this sometimes when I'm playing a fighting game. I don't want to have to pull a trigger if I'm playing a fighting game. But if I'm shooting a gun, sometimes I do want to pull a trigger, right? Sometimes I want the activation force. Some people like it just because they want to shoot faster, but it's up to you, I suppose. I like this for Street Fighter, and then I like this for guns, like Saints Row. I was playing Saints Row recently, and I did that. Gas and brake, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Gas and brake. It just depends on what you want. If you want, and I like that. That's a feature that the Xbox and PlayStation don't have that I really like. There's a lot of little things like that you see in these. And these controllers are still cheaper. Like, not all of them are cheaper than the mainline ones, but this one is. And I've tried 8BitDo, I've tried Easy SMX, I've tried a lot of these third-party companies. Some of them have controllers for like $15. And obviously they aren't as good as this one, but they're pretty close, honestly. They still have Hall Effect joysticks. They don't have this stuff, obviously. And sometimes they don't have these extra buttons. But for $15, everything else is pretty much the same. Sometimes they don't have Rumble. This one also has Rumble. But man, it is really good. And it charges via USB-C, if you want to do that. You got the L4 and L3, but there's also another button on this one called R4. So you get even 2 more buttons right here. And you don't accidentally press them. Like, they are perfectly placed that if you want to use them, you're going to use them. I like this controller a lot. I think it's really nice. And the fact that it's not a mainline controller is amazing. I think it's really cool. And I got it in white. They are releasing a leverless arcade stick soon, which I'm kind of want to try because I'm used to using a lever arcade stick. But they have the ones that it's like all buttons, if you know what I'm talking about. And so I'd love to try it out because I have never used it before. It looks insane. But it seems like everyone's getting into the leverless game now. Mad Catz memories are flooding back. The trauma. I used to love Mad Catz controllers. They were my go-to controller people in the 2000s. I like them a lot. $18.89 is when Nintendo was created. You don't last that long without doing right by people. Yeah, I agree. I have to figure out why Xbox controllers do not work with my PC. They are old. They have to be a certain year. Yes, actually. So, Robert, if you are using a Xbox 360 controller, there was a certain time where they did not have the controller drivers built into the controller. So you have to go onto Windows website, and there's actually a driver for older controllers. I used to have to do this back in the day, like in 2006, 2007. So try downloading that driver. That might be it. I tried to play a racing game with manual transmission on the keyboard. That was a workout. There is a mouse that is shaped like a gun. Looks fun for FPS game. That's crazy. A mouse that is shaped like a gun. Is it like a stand up one? So you're like shooting like this? That's funny. I'll have to check that. That's so funny. I have the Elite Xbox controller. It has all those features and 2 extra rear buttons. No Hall effect sticks though. Nice. But I've had I've used the Elite Xbox controller. It is pretty good. But this is $50. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. I have not compared them one to one because I haven't used that controller in a while. But man, they do a pretty good job. I gotta say, like it's really nice. It doesn't feel cheap. I wondered why 2 different ones didn't work. Yeah, I would say probably try the drivers because I remember having to do that back in the day, and it was specifically with 360 controllers. It was like a very common thing. But yeah, 8-bit dude, thanks for sending this. I really like it. I actually do use it, not every day, but it's my main controller now. I kind of like it a lot, and I've tried a lot of controllers. I have a lot of controllers around here. Some of the people in chat who know me IRL, they know I have a ton of controllers. Some I love, some I don't, and this is definitely on the love list. I like it a lot. So shout out to them. Thanks for sending it to me. I appreciate it. It's been really cool. I will drop a link to this one. Is this 3 or 2? No, there's no 3. Yeah, so this is with the dock. This is a $60 controller. So it is cheaper than a brand new PlayStation or Xbox controller, but it has some more features that I like a lot. Let me link y'all just in case. Oh, actually $45 on sale for the nice. I'll link that one. Yeah, $45 on sale. Pretty good. $8-bit do ultimate controller. Thanks, 8-bit do. Appreciate it. Like that. Xbox One controller. Yep, the original Xbox One controller needed a special driver to work in Windows 10 when it released. Yeah, I remember that. That was so silly back in the day. Nintendo does get a pass when they shouldn't. Them still releasing 2 Pokemon games for $6 a piece and paywalling certain characters to make you buy both is wrong. That being said, I will still. Exactly, you will. Nintendo knows that. They know they've got you hooked, and what are you going to do about it? I am part of the problem. The website is Ragnarok. It looks cool. What is Ragnarok? Oh, that's the gun mouse you were mentioning. This looks crazy. Hold on, I'll pull it up. That's really, really funny, dude. Oh man, hold on. It's a mouse that looks like a gun. Are you crazy? What is wrong with you? So this is basically a stand-up. Hold on, let me turn off this music. It's driving me crazy. It is basically a stand-up vertical mouse. So if you've used a vertical mouse, it's like that, but you're pulling the trigger a little bit further. That must hurt your hand. It's not very aerodynamic. Oh my god. They have a robot holding it. That's not even what it looks like. Can you change the mag? This is so funny. $130. I can turn a mouse into a gun for less than that. I'll 3D print something. Dude, imagine a girl comes over to your house and you have this on your desk. Hold on, I have to do this. He just loaded it. Oh my god, it has recoil action? Okay, that's not necessary. Okay, I like the idea of a recoil on it. I think that's fun. That reminds me of like Time Crisis at the arcade. That's that's pretty funny. What is this? Nope. Gun. These Chinese companies are hilarious. What is that device on the left? Who is this person in the future? Nice desk setup. That is hilarious, dude. That is hilarious. They couldn't get a human to hold this thing. This is so funny. So funny. Thanks for sharing. I like it a lot. I think it's really funny. It looks like the top of a Clorox bottle. Yeah, dude, it does. Imagine having this and you get swatted and the cops think you have a gun. Dude, you get up and you just go, "What? What's going on?" And then they're going to shoot your dog. That's the gun from Duck Hunt. I had to buy the Xbox dongle to work with my P520. I like the Xbox dongle actually. I used to use it a lot. I still have mine from like when it first released. It's a Chungus. 2001 is the last time I gave money to Nintendo. Follow my example, guys. That's fine. People spend money or don't spend money wherever they want, I think. And that's the point I'm trying to make earlier with the you support companies you want to support, and you don't support companies you don't want to support. Why get mad at a company for making a game that you don't want? Like the newest Assassin's Creed, just don't buy it. People spend literally hours upon hours complaining about a game online. I'm like, you are a loser. Just don't play the game. Don't buy it. Like, move on with your life. Get a life. Oh my God. Do you think my priorities are skewed that my phone is many times more expensive than my PC? No. Is it also bad that I have a $150 keyboard and $130 mouse? Something's wrong with me? No. I think that's fine. Um, yeah, that's fine. People put money more where they want to put it. I think that's fine. Like for me, I like a nice keyboard for typing, but for gaming, I don't really need a fancy keyboard. I could play on like a crappy $5 Dell, but so like this is like a really affordable keyboard. But my mouse is so much more important. Like to me, I don't want a really cheap and crappy mouse, but I would use a cheap and crappy keyboard. Like it's just how I feel. So people pay money where they want to pay money. What's wrong with that? My girlfriend buys their junk, then tries to get me to buy into the trash so we can play together. Hayden, I have a life lesson for you, brother. What you just said, you look, you're you're the asshole. Okay, like I just YTA. Uh, you're gonna learn once she's gone because you didn't play Animal Crossing with her. You are gonna be like, should have bought that Switch. You know what I mean? You're trying to make her sound like the bad guy. I say just do it. Play with her. You don't have to buy it. Play on her Switch. Split screen. Daniel, what's up, Jason in chat? How's it going? What's up, Daniel? It's going good. It's going good. If my keyboard costs more than my GPU, the system is not balanced. Luckily, I know my chair is sinking. Look how low I am. Um, I know Dylan's GPU is like $200, so luckily his keyboard and mouse individually are not worth more, but together they are. But I think that's okay. You spend money where you spend money. Music back on. But yeah, that controller was the last thing I needed to. I didn't need to. Wanted to show off. Just some stuff I've had lying around that I thought was pretty interesting, but not interesting enough to make a full video on. You guys get it. But I will be making a full video on this guy pretty soon here. The one downside of this is that it does not have Oculink, and I think for a lot of know-it-alls on YouTube, if a mini PC doesn't have Oculink, it's garbage because they think they're going to use an eGPU on it. They're not. They will never will. They just want the option. But this one's a little bit cheaper, so it doesn't have an Oculink port, but it does have Thunderbolt. But this one can be good for a little what's it called? Emulation box. So that'll be fun to test out. Since Jason says I need a 3050, you don't need it. Did you see the RX 7700 XT on Tech Power Up dropped from about 2% below an RX 6800 to the same as a 6750 XT? Seems weird. I have not checked those lists yet. That's interesting. Are they constantly testing stuff like that? Like even with updated drivers and stuff? That's interesting. I wonder if those things change because they do newer games. How could it, like, maybe no, that wouldn't make any sense because those are older. The 6750 XT. Do you keep track of those rankings, Hayden? That's interesting. I never tested the 7700 XT. It was kind of underwhelming. That whole generation was kind of underwhelming. No idea, but I got both cards, and RX 7700 definitely outperforms it. Interesting. I wonder what test they did. It was probably something. Let me try to think. What? The same as a 6750? I wonder what test they do if they added some game that it just doesn't perform well on. Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of chairs, I'm in the market for a good ergo chair that's not like solid gold priced. Any opinion? I do not have an opinion for you, Daniel. Sorry. If anybody has any opinions for Daniel, please give him in the suggestions down below. The chair I'm in is expensive because it was given to me, and I wouldn't recommend people actually buy it. But outside of that, I don't have any recommendations. I think chairs are weird that it's hard to, because we don't go to stores anymore. It's really hard to find like which one's comfortable. I remember if anyone used to go to like Fry's or Staples or whatever, they would have like a jungle of chairs for you to sit in, and you could try them out. I loved that, dude. That was the best way to experience a chair, and now it's gone. And now you just kind of have to buy on vibes. And by the time you have it assembled in your home, it would be way too much work to return it, even though you could. You'd have to unassemble it, like, so you tell yourself that it's comfortable when it's not because you don't want to return it. Oh, it's so frustrating. But that is kind of how it works these days. But yeah, I don't have any suggestions for you. This chair has been acting up recently, and I'm not sure why. The pneumatic device that like raises and lowers it, it will just start to slowly sink over time, even if I'm not in it. So like I'll leave and go to bed, and it'll be in the highest position, and when I come in here in the morning, it'll be at the bottom. So like not even any weight on it, it's just sinking. So I think something's wrong with that, but I don't know how the warranty would work because I didn't pay for it. So I might have to take a look at it. But it is frustrating because y'all just saw like it just sinks over time, and my desk is set in a way that I want to be like my legs need to be straight, and I'm a little taller, so I like to just sit like that. What else was on my list before we go? Because it's 9. Oh, I am considering doing a Linux challenge. After watching the PewDiePie Linux video. I've watched a lot. I know a lot about Linux. I'm not good at Linux. I'm just saying I know a lot that it exists. But I am considering switching to it, and I want to do at least a challenge, maybe 30 days on it. If y'all have any suggestions for that, and the biggest thing I can think of is that it doesn't have Adobe, and I use a lot of Photoshop and I use a lot of Premiere Pro, and I know alternatives exist on Linux, but I like those softwares. I like them. I know how to use them. I especially like Photoshop, especially because Photoshop has generative fill, which is like AI stuff that is not available in GIMP. Um, and you know, gaming has gotten better on Linux, but it's still going to be kind of a headache. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would run into. But I might do a 30-day challenge. I think that'd be kind of fun. Um, if not kind of frustrating. I did a 30-day Linux challenge. It was fine. Just no Fortnite. That's right. Those games don't work on Linux, do they? I don't play Fortnite, but um, I do play uh, I do play competitive shooters. So I wonder if they would even work on Linux. I mean, some of these content creators are doing ads for chairs that cost $500 and stuff, and I'd pay that if it's worth it. I do a lot of telehealth and spend a lot of time in front of the computer. Um, this chair is like $1,600, so I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. It's just so much. It's a nice chair, I'll admit, but I don't have any experience. I've only used $100 chairs, and I've used this chair, so I don't have anything in the middle. I'd love to try them all out so I can give more recommendations, but I just frankly don't have the experience with them. I have a regular Office Depot chair. Since that is not a gaming chair, I wrote gaming on the back, and now it is a gaming chair. It's like putting a flame sticker on your car. When my $70 IKEA chair broke, I hopped on Chair YouTube for a day and then bought a $150 Amazon chair. It does the job. There you go. Chair YouTube, Chair Talk. Right. Everybody stop talking while I go downstairs and make a brew. Thanks. I'm considering moving my operating system to Bazite. It's Linux based and you can dual boot, right? Yeah, you can. I've used Bazite on my Legion Go. And I liked it, except that it kept crashing randomly, and so I got off of it. But um, I think SteamOS recently got a full release for all the handhelds, and people have been installing it on their desktops, and it's been okay. So take a look at real SteamOS. It's I think it's kind of available now. You can give it a shot if you use AMD hardware. That's like the biggest issue. But it's the same with Bazite. Bazite would have the same requirements that SteamOS would have. For the Linux challenge, Bluetooth and printer worked. Basically, everything worked fine. Nice. I'm watching this on Linux right now. Linux is the go-to for watching streams. Okay. I got really frustrated because I was going to install it on a side laptop I have just to try it out beforehand, and I could not install it. I kept getting an error during installation over and over and over, and I'm like, why is this happening? It's just some error saying can't write, critical error, can't write to this drive. I'm like, why? This doesn't happen on Windows. Like, what's the problem? And I followed a bunch of guides, and I never got it figured out. And then the stream started, so I don't know. Kind of annoying. Can you dual boot SteamOS? Yeah, you can dual boot anything for sure. And that's how a lot of people do it. They dual boot SteamOS and Windows, or Bazite and Windows. And I don't hate Windows. I think it's fine. Um, but I don't like the idea of being dependent on it. Frankly, I do like macOS. macOS has been pretty good for just daily use stuff. Obviously, I can't game on it, so I can't use it. But I want to give Linux a shot just because I've heard it's gotten good for gaming. Well, it's gotten better, and just yeah, it's the editing software would be such a pain in the butt, man. I like Photoshop and I like using Premiere Pro because I know where everything is, and so it's just such a pain to have to learn a new software that isn't better. These are like Adobe alternatives. They're not better. They are frankly worse, and that's the annoying part is like having to force yourself to learn new software that is just worse. which sucks because Adobe's not great as it is. Ironically, Linux content videos do 3 times better than standard content. People hate it so much they want to see it. I also think it's the opposite, Robert. I think people who love Linux are obsessed with watching people say they don't like Linux so that they can type how stupid they are and how like superior they are for liking Linux. I think it's like a double-edged sword, but in a good way. So yeah, I think that would be a good video. A lot of people do it though. I want to dual boot SteamOS on Mac. Yeah, that'll never happen. Probably not. I did have a partition used the first time. Once I wiped the drive, it was fine. I thought that was it too, but I wiped it. I done wiped it so many times, and I don't know. It's so frustrating. I have a spare drive here that I might just do it on. I'm not going to erase my Windows drive. I'm gonna do it on another drive and use that drive as the main drive, and then just figure it out from there. But I don't want to go into it without having a way to record the whole process, like the screen record. So I need to have that set up before I even consider it. And I didn't want to do it today because I'm streaming. But maybe next week I'll be streaming on a Linux computer. So we'll see. In my case, I literally did not use Windows at all for 30 days, which could be bad in your case. Yeah, I think other than video editing and Photoshop and gaming, let me think. A lot of this stuff is available. And that's what I'm trying to think of. Like, what do I use that would not be available on Linux? And the only one I can think of is some games, which is fine. I can not play some games, and Adobe. So that'd be frustrating. But if I was gonna do it, I'd want to do it. Like I would give up Adobe for a month and do everything on Linux because I don't want to do everything and then like, oh yeah, then I use the Windows PC to edit. Like a lot of what I do is Photoshop and Adobe, so it would be like half, and I don't think that's not it's not fair to Linux. It doesn't give it a real shot. Like if I'm going to do it, I need to do it. I need to go all in and try it for 30 days or a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and give it a real shot. Yeah, but if you do it, go 100%. It will be like day 15 and you have a beard and a blanket and you are like hating life. I mean, I've done challenges where I use a Steam Deck as a computer for a week or two, and I did the ROG Ally X for a month. Um, but those were Windows, and frankly, using a handheld as a computer, well, no, Steam Deck wasn't Windows, but it was only a week, so it was fine. But using a handheld is not an issue because Windows was the bottleneck. Like as long as it has Windows, I don't care what computer it is. The operating system is what really matters. So learning Linux will be interesting. I mean, I know Linux. I know the basics of it. It's not like I'd be totally um, out in the water, but I definitely don't know GIMP or KDE or whatever. I think DaVinci Resolve is on Linux now, and I know how to use that, but I just don't like it as much as Premiere. There are some very specific things on Adobe Premiere Pro that are like hard to get away from that I really do enjoy. But we'll see. I'll give it a shot. I was saying if y'all had any recommendations, I was considering going for Mint, Mint Cinnamon, just because it seems nice, and I don't really like Ubuntu. DaVinci works in Linux. Okay, that's good. Well, there's one thing I can at least use that. But GIMP is not anywhere close to Photoshop, and if anyone says it is, to me GIMP is more like Paint. It's more like MS Paint than Photoshop, but we'll see. I'll give it a shot. Daily driving a Linux enabled smart fridge? I could. It would be easier if it had Windows. I use Linux on my home server, and I use Linux on SteamOS and that kind of stuff. So I'm not completely in the dark about Linux. I know the basics of it, so that will be helpful. But I could do it with my Legion Go using it as a desktop. I even have an eGPU, the 1X GPU, and a DIY with setup. Nice. Yeah, I love the Legion Go, man. I have Windows on it right now, just because I hated Bazite. But now that SteamOS is officially out for it, I'm considering switching to it. but I've heard there's issues with changing the TDP on the device, which I like to do often. So I might hold off a little bit till they fix that. But apparently there are some workarounds, and I kind of want to make a Legion Go video again because I haven't in a while. But we'll see. I mean, you could cheat and use a Windows VM in Linux. You are still on Linux. Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's cheating, and I feel like it defeats the purpose. It's like, yeah, I just went to Linux, so I can just use a Windows VM. Like, I don't know. It's just CMOS doesn't support eGPUs though, do they? Not really. No. I mean, kind of. Like, yeah, not really. No. It's not as simple. I've seen some people do it, but if it's especially if it's Thunderbolt, no way. It barely works. Yeah, no, not really. That's more of a Windows thing. At the end, you look like Tom Hanks in Castaway with an imaginary friend. My work has certain security protocols due to HIPAA, and they have it all based on Windows, nothing on Linux. Yeah, for sure. Like sometimes you just can't get around it. Like especially if you do stuff for work. Um, but I'm going thinking through all the software I use, and most of it is yeah, it would all be fine on Linux. I actually used your DIY eGPU video to do mine. Nice. That's awesome, dude. Those were really fun. I like the idea of eGPUs, um, but I don't think they're practical for most people. But they are pretty fun to use. I kind of like that. I like the idea of them. But a lot of people have told me they're like, I use this now. Thanks for telling me. And I'm like, fantastic. That's great, man. If it's working for you, I'm down. I was going to do a Windows VM, but it works so well, I just didn't need to on Linux Mint. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna I'm gonna rice it out and make it look really cool. And I wonder if Wallpaper Engine works on Linux. I don't know. Probably not. What else do I want to talk about? But yeah, so think about that. Think about switching to Linux. Risa hat. Oh, so did anyone here see the Google I/O event where they talked a lot about their new AI stuff? It was a few days ago, maybe a week ago at this point. They announced some really cool stuff within their AI um, world, and one thing they showed was the Android XR, which is like what I believe, and it's what I've been saying for a few years, is going to be the new smartphone. A device that is basically like Google Glass or like a VR goggle, but in glasses. So like, and once they figure out how to get AR stuff in glasses that aren't intrusive, like they just look like your normal glasses, I believe a lot of people will buy them. I believe a lot of people would. Truly, I think it's going to be amazing. And if y'all don't know what Android XR is, it's basically like if y'all know about like Google Glass, it's kind of like that. Let's watch a video first. These all suck.
So Google just revealed their new. What exactly are these new glasses? Well, basically, Google has
Oh man, now I have to put my headphones back on. That does the opposite.
been working on smart glasses for over 10 years, and they finally created something that looks like regular glasses, but it's packed with some seriously next level tech. These Android XR glasses are designed to be worn all day long and work alongside your phone. They've got cameras, microphones, speakers, and this is the cool part. Some models have an option in lens display that can show you information privately right in your field of view.
So this is what Google Glass was originally. It was just a camera and it was microphone. And people who used it loved it. They thought it was so cool. But the problem is that people weren't ready for it. They did not like the idea that people were recording you at all times. Like they didn't like that idea. And people and it's fair enough. But young people, they've been recorded since day one. Their parents have had a phone in their face since the day they were born, taking photos of them. Everything is recorded. Everything is TikTok. Everything. So now that world is done. People don't mind being recorded 24/7, and so that opens these up where you can have that original stuff from Google Glass, but also have the incorporated AR stuff.
Vision. I was surprised to find out that they actually come in 3 different versions. There's a basic model with no display, a mid-tier version with a display in one lens called a monocular, then the premium versions with displays in both lenses, a binocular. Now they support prescription lenses too, so you don't have to worry about having to choose between seeing clearly and having cool tech. Now what makes these glasses special though is that they're built from the ground up to work with Google Gemini's AI. It's like having an AI assistant that sees what you see and hears what you hear all day long.
Dude, that sounds crazy to me. Like having a Chat GPT or Gemini already in your phone is like amazing. And like the fact that you can like take a picture of something with your phone or type in anything or just say anything and you get an AI assistant is crazy. The next logical step is to have it on your face. So you're just looking at something and it's detecting it, and it just saves so much time on like having to do stuff. It just sounds so crazy to me.
I mean, imagine you're having your own personal Jarvis from Iron Man, but it's on your face. So let's get into what these glasses can actually do, because this is where it gets interesting. During the Google demo, their employee Nisha showed how these glasses work backstage at the I/O event. The most basic stuff is pretty cool already. You can see notifications,
It's like heavy rain,
and take photos without ever taking your phone out of your pocket. But that's just the beginning. One feature that genuinely had me saying wow out loud was the visual memory capability. In one demonstration, someone briefly looked at the bookshelf, turned away, and then asked Gemini what was the title of the book on the shelf behind me. And the glasses actually remembered and told them. I came across another article that also mentioned how the glasses can even help you.
That's sick. Because it's always recording, the AI can always refer to the old footage. So like it looked at a bookshelf, looked away, and it asked it later what book was on the shelf. It goes back, it looks at the footage, says, oh, it was this. Amazing. Imagine if you're like in a class and your glasses are just recording the entire lecture, and then the Gemini can give you a whole rundown of what you learned in class. Or you can just go back and like look at the video yourself, and you don't have to be a creepy, intrusive guy. Amazing, dude. It's like the utility of it just blows my mind. It would be amazing to have smart lenses that you could just type in your prescription instead of having to get new lenses. That would be amazing. I love my Virtual glasses, but they're too bulky. I think extra storage and stuff can be handled on the watch. Yeah, I don't want to watch though. I like the idea that it's looking. Oh, I think I know what you're saying. I got you. I understand. Wallpaper doesn't work on Mac. Boo. How we gonna do crime now with all these glasses walking around recording us? I think the opposite's gonna happen actually, hey, and I think more crime is gonna happen. But that is true. I wonder if people, if they see someone wearing glasses and they're about to commit a crime, I mean, it's basically a body cam on every human being. That's insane. For like, imagine like this becomes mainstream and every person is wearing this. That's essentially every single person's wearing a body cam at all times. That's no more he said, she said. Like everything will be backed up. Crazy. Like it sounds like dystopian, but I think it has more use case than we think about. I think it could be. I like this more than having people on their phone 24/7. I think this is better. I think at the very least you're on your glasses. You're like on your glasses. Yeah, at least you're in the moment. You're looking around. You're not looking down and swiping through stuff. Like you're still looking around. I think I think it could be. I think it'd be good.
Find your lost hotel keycard. And as someone who's constantly misplacing things.
Yeah, dude. It's recording where you put stuff down. So like if it sees you put down your hotel keycard, it'll say like, yeah, you left it here. Insane. Dude, imagine having a body cam on 24/7 and it's just reporting everything.
This alone would be worth it for me.
Let's actually step it up a notch with something we call memory. For a rolling contextual window, the AI remembers what you see without having to be told what to keep track of.
So you guys may have noticed, I snuck a peek back at the shelf a moment ago. I wasn't paying attention, but let's see if Gemini was. Hey, did you happen to catch the title of the white book that was on the shelf behind me?
The White Book is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
That is absolutely right.
Now, the translation features
That's awesome. Just one step closer to letting them put chips in us. That is one issue. Yes, but surely that means if you accidentally witness a crime, the police going to take them off you for evidence. Goodbye glasses for 9 months. Yeah, that's another problem. I think. I don't think this is like double issue. I don't think that data is going to be held locally. I think it's going to be on Google's servers, and I don't think a lot of Americans right now want their, and it could be in other countries. I just know about Americans. They don't want their their body cams being uploaded to the cloud. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't feel comfortable doing that right now. In 10 years, like we, as a society, we let loose more of our securities every day. And so it could be a chance that in a few years, this is normal. And people are like, why did we ever question this? You know what I mean? But as of right now, I feel like especially old people and even millennials, I don't think they like the idea of that. It's not going to be held locally. Like this is definitely going to go through their servers if it's an AI cloud. I wonder if we're ever going to get to a point where everyone is running their AI assistant at home in a home lab, and like everyone just shares that single AI assistant, right? And so instead of having to go through Google servers, everyone's going through your AI stuff, and it can like send it locally to your home lab and your home server. I think we will get to that point eventually, but the problem is that Google doesn't make any money doing that. They want your data. They want you. They're going to make a ton of money if they did it this way. I think I would much rather spend a ton of money to have my own AI assistant at home that I can manage and just know all the data is going to me and not Google. And yeah, if the police, like Hayden said here, if they want to confiscate it, that's going to be an interesting thing, because where is privacy, right? It's privacy that you were recording someone, but do they need a warrant to get those glasses off your eyes? Because it's footage. How are they going to get footage that is yours if you don't want to give it to them? So it's going to be an interesting concept in the future if we're all wearing body cams like this.
a next level too. The glasses can
Daniel's right
translate
too.
the text you're looking at in real time. What's even more impressive is that they can translate spoken conversations on the fly. During the demo,
This is great.
two people were speaking different languages, one in Hindi and one in Farsi, and the glasses were translating everything in real time with subtitles. It's kind of like having subtitles for real life.
Vishter and I
So these exist right now. There are like apps, obviously, that can do this, which is great, and they do a pretty good job. But just having it open in your eyes. So basically, two people are speaking to each other in different languages, and it's still translating it to English for them to read right in front of their eyes. So right now we have like headphones and stuff, but it's just being able to communicate with people like that is invaluable. I mean, again, we have this right now. We just have it in apps. So this would be a convenient way to do it. I do prefer my storage, not a server generally. I agree, Daniel, but I feel like most people don't do that. 99% of people aren't going to run a home server. And so I wonder if we get to the point where people, like if they make it easy and they like tell people, hey, this is your AI. You're going to keep this at home running 24/7 and all of your family and friends can connect to it and you are controlling your data, and they make it super easy to access for you, and like it could be something that people actually do at home. That would be interesting. I think that'd be really cool. Like we could make home servers a thing. And I think the thing that would make people do it, because cloud is just too convenient. I think people are okay with uploading their own like photos, like, you know, photos to Google Photos and all that. But for some reason, body cam footage is like, I think where people draw the line. And so that might be where we convince more people to make home servers, or if they just make it easier for people who don't know anything about home servers, and it just becomes like something else you just buy. Could be pretty cool. If you're in public, it's a given consent to be recorded, so people can't stop someone from recording. So that's not necessarily true, Daniel. When you say public, that's not always the case. You think public means when you go outside your home. That's not true. When you go into a private business, like the gym, a store, a library. Like, these are not public places, and you're not consenting. These are private businesses and private government buildings. It depends on what country you're in, but if you are walking on a public street, then yes, I would say you've consented to being recorded. But if someone's recording you leaving your home and they're on the street, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, and if you're in a business or if you're at work or, there's like a lot of stuff, like most people like streets and stuff. I understand. But in America, we don't often walk down the street anymore. Unfortunately, we drive down the street. And so, a lot of people don't just walk the streets these days in America. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, most people spend most of their day in places that aren't able to be recorded, like their own home and their workplace and maybe a restaurant, and they go to a store. Basically, the only time it is okay to be recorded is when they're driving to those places and walking from their car to that place. But then even their car, we already have that. They're called dash cams, right? So it's going to be interesting how we handle this kind of privacy stuff. No lie, I was talking about renting a van to move some stuff one day, never searched for it, and 2 days later I was getting van ads. Very true. I think places will turn on them. For instance, the older smart glasses that record are banned inside airports. Yeah, I think it's they're going to have to figure that stuff out. Like, yeah, I think it's going to be a pain point for sure at first. We still have not figured out where to ban phones, and it's still an issue, especially in education. So it's going to be hard. If these become mainstream, it's going to be a big issue.
Having subtitles for real life.
Nishta and I are going to speak to each other in our mother tongues. Nishta's going to speak Hindi. I'm going to speak Farsi very poorly. And you'll see the feed from both of our glasses back here. And so you can all follow along. We'll show an English translation in real time. Okay? Let's give it a shot. Fingers crossed. بسیار خوب. حالا میتونی ببینی حرفای من ترجمه میشن از فارسی به انگلیسی.
हाँ बिल्कुल अब मेरी पूरी दुनिया खुल जाती है और मैं सब कुछ समझ सकती हूँ आसानी से
حالا میتونی با همه آدمای دنیا صحبت بکنی و برای مامان و بابام ببخشین فارسی.
Pretty cool. Wait, people get in cars? People get out of their homes? Since when? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, they just drive to work, and they don't even drive to get food. They have other people bring them food. Google will likely be forced by governments to geolock areas where they cannot record. And I think that's an easy way to do it, to be honest. But then that will also give rise to the increase of home servers where you can turn off that kind of stuff. It's like, hey, I'm hosting this myself. Why would I allow that to happen? And so people just say, oh, Google's got it locked down. I'm not recording. But really, I am. You know what I mean? Like, when I was going to take my test to get my license, they took my glasses and ran a machine over them to ensure they weren't smart glasses. It was crazy. People be cheating in such interesting ways. Presentation frame rate is lacking. Yeah, because they were recording both of their devices wirelessly to this screen up here. Can you see my mouse? Yeah. And they're both, as it's translating, it's using AI to do it. So it's like, definitely, it's just the recording frame rate. You know what I mean? Makes sense.
This can display turn-by-turn directions in your field of view. With 3D maps.
This is for me. If you live in a city and you do a lot of walking, imagine Google Maps in your eyes.
I also learned that the navigation features are pretty sweet. Instead of staring down your phone while walking, the glasses can display turn-by-turn directions in your field of view, with 3D maps overlaid on the real world. It's like having the navigation from a video game, but in real life. And get this, when you take photos with the glasses, you can instantly see the preview right in front of your eyes.
Oh my God. Insane. Amazing. We can already do this on phones, obviously, and we can already do it on watches. But I'm just saying, like, not having to constantly pull out our phone for everything is super nice. Like, I hate having to pull out my phone for everything. Most of the stuff I want, I just want it available at all times. And all the other stuff, I don't mind getting my phone out, like to watch a YouTube video or to talk to someone, like that stuff I don't mind. But for the most of the stuff, I don't want to have to pick up my watch or pick up my phone. I just want it done. See you later, Daniel.
No more taking out your phone to check if everyone's eyes were open.
Hey, Gemini, what have I missed in the besties group chat?
Nee
Ew.
and Sarah are discussing meeting later today at Gio's Pizza to celebrate Kelsey's promotion and are wondering if you can make it.
Are there any vegan options there?
Yes, reviews
Now,
rave
let's
about the
actually
mushroom
take a
penny
look
pasta.
Okay, that's pretty silly. That's kind of silly. Okay, but I get that. I like that. It's like you can. I kind of hate how you need to use voice commands though. I kind of like it. Because look, I understand where you're coming from. I hate using voice commands on my phone. Because for a lot of things, I just want to touch it. But if I'm using glasses, the stuff I'm doing, I want the phone to be able to do without me touching stuff. Her hands are full, right? So I think it would be nice to do most of it by voice, but there may be like a little button on the side that is like a scroll wheel or something, because sometimes you're in a quiet place and you don't want to just, you're like sitting in a lecture hall and you're like, Google, show me where the best food is around here. And like everyone turns and looks at you. You know what I mean? Like there should be like kind of a secretive way to do it, because sometimes you can't talk. So I wonder how they'll figure that out too, because that would be kind of nice. Just a little button, little actuator. Is this all AI? Yes. So this is their I/O event, and this was pretty much all AI as far as I know. I think they are trying to get away from their Google Assistant they've been using together, and they want to switch it all to Gemini. And so right now there's kind of like a combination of the two. But I think eventually they just want to get rid of Google Assistant and just go all the way to AI and all the way to Gemini.
The
It's better.
technology behind the magic.
Tell the group I'll be there. Oh, and can you send the pic of the blue just to let them know what I'll be wearing tonight?
She looks like a crazy person. She's just talking to herself. But again, this is now, is what I'm saying. Like in a few years, this is gonna look normal. There was a time where holding up a phone to talk looked crazy. Okay, I'm just saying, like taking a phone call in public was crazy. You were a crazy person, and now it's totally normal. So I think eventually people will get used to this.
How's this?
Awesome. Send it. Is there a store where I can get a card for Kelsey nearby?
Serendipity Cards is a good choice.
Let's go.
So how does all of this actually work?
Here we
Let's
go.
get into the tech side of things. First, I should mention that these aren't standalone devices. They connect to your Android phone, which handles most of the processing.
Right, I
This
understand
is
that.
actually smart because it means that the glasses themselves
They'll be
will
lighter.
be lighter
Yep.
and have better battery life.
Yep.
According to what I've read, they're supposed to last all day on a single charge.
They
But
better.
I'm guessing that depends on how much you use them. The physical design is pretty interesting too. Unlike the original Google Glass, which looks super obvious and kind of dorky, these new glasses are designed to look more like regular eyewear. They still have thicker arms and rims than normal glasses, but they're way less conspicuous
Yeah.
than previous attempts at
They-
smart glasses.
They tried so hard, you can't really see it here, to make Google Glass look futuristic and cool that it was actually its downfall. They looked so dorky and like not like normal glasses that it made people uncomfortable. Like it made it feel like, oh, this person's coming to me. They're wearing it's like, imagine if someone's wearing a body cam at all times, but like the body cam is like right here. It's like you make people uncomfortable like that. Like if it's just normal glasses, people are like a little more comfortable with it. When you're being invited to a social event in person, you say out loud, Google, what's best excuses to dodge social events? Google, where's the nearest toilet? Google, how to solve diarrhea? Google, I'm at a party and everyone sucks. How do I pretend to have diarrhea?
At smart glasses, partnered with Samsung to develop the Android XR platform, and they've announced partnerships with eyewear brands like Gentle Monster and Warby Parker to create stylish versions of these glasses. And in the future, they're planning to work with Kering Eyewear too. Now, this is a smart move because honestly, if these things don't look good, nobody's going to wear them no matter how cool the tech smart glasses on the market. So what do I really think about the future of AR?
Sorry, AI Grid, I don't know who you are. But thanks, we watched his video, so we can give him a link if you want to check it out. I don't know who he is, but pretty cool. I'm bullish. I am bullish on the Android XR. I think it's going to be very, very cool, and it's something that I've been talking about for a long time, where I believe AI glasses are going to be the future. I think it's going to be, once they get the price point down to something that's reasonable for everyone, I think it's going to be insane. I think if they come out $300, I think a lot of people are going to buy it. $200, I think everyone's going to buy it. It is crazy. Like, I'm concerned about your search history, Jason. This is like an empty thing. I don't even use this. I think everyone's going to use it. I think eventually it will be really good. What's my search history? I don't even use this. Let me see. Check this out. Google Gemini, Gemini VO3, Pixel 3a. What's concerned about that? Nothing concerning there. I only use this for stream. But yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. I think I want one. I want it. I think it's cool. Imagine you're like working out at the gym and you don't want to constantly having to look down on your phone to watch a video, and so you can just play a little video on your eye while you're working out, and it's not like a hazard, and you're up, you're looking up, you're not like down on your phone. Like, yes, you're still watching a video, but you're like you're aware, you're there, you're like in the moment, right? It's like, I'm not telling people they need to just put down their phones and go pay attention, because it's not realistic, right? This is like a middle ground where it gets people at least looking up. It's you know what I mean? It's like a step in the right direction. Yeah, scary stuff, really. Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah. When you look at the ramifications of it, it's going to be interesting to see how we solve this. Um, but I think it could be cool, and I wonder how it's going to work. The hypothetical questions for Gemini. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you mean like what's it called? Uh, like they were asking on the in the video. Let's see, 9:43. I think I'm gonna call it in about 15 minutes, so we can just hang out for about 15 minutes. Fix this, move this over here. Yeah, we'll hang out for about 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna go eat dinner. And then yeah, next week we will be back to normal. Monday, 7 p.m. CST. Let me pull this up. I bought a non-Asus RG motherboard last week. Shock horror. Oh my gosh, Hayden, are you okay? Is everything okay? That's worrisome, dude. Are you sick? Is something wrong? You sound ill, dude. Like, is everything okay? That's uncharacteristic of you. Close up. I hate having. Are y'all like me? I hate having notifications. I can't handle it. Yeah, I'm back on the Google train. Was cheap, 47 pounds for an MSI Mag Tomahawk B550. That is pretty good, actually. I'd be down for that. It's getting harder to find B550 motherboards, man. Like AM4 is just gone, non-existent anymore. Like the motherboards are very difficult to get. Put some music back on. Okay, let me find my music thing. This one. Let me turn it down because it's... There we go. Is that too loud? Too quiet? Yeah, so we'll call it in about 15 minutes, but we're just hanging out. Glad we got to show some stuff. I'm very bullish on the Google AI stuff. It made me want to get back into the Google ecosystem because the fact that you can use Gemini to like go through your emails and stuff, and it just has... That's like the sad part, is giving a company all of your data sounds so frustrating, and so like you don't want that. But to use AI effectively, that is kind of how you have to do it. So I would love to use an AI system, but I get to host all my own data and I get to access my own stuff. But then they don't allow you to do that. It's like so much work to do it. And so I would love that to be in the future where you can host your own data and it's okay. But then it's hard enough to get people to do anything. Like port forwarding, it's already hard enough. And people have such bad internet, and AI models are so expensive to run effectively and fast. Like whenever I see people saying they're going to run a AI model at home on some crappy hardware, and then they're complaining that it's slow, I'm like, dude, they spend like 40 grand per graphics card at Google and at ChatGPT. You cannot compete with that. Like, not even close. Even if you pay them $200 a month, like it's like a drop in the bucket for how much they've spent, and then add that to like electrical fees to keep it running. Crazy. It's a dead platform, but here in the UK, boards are still same sort of prices as a year ago. They don't seem to be going down. Nice. On Amazon in the US, it is very difficult. There's not that many choices now, and the ones that are left are quite expensive. And then you go onto eBay, and there's like not that many options actually. For some reason, there just aren't that many AM4 motherboards, or used at least. About a year ago, it was fine on Amazon, but yeah, nowadays it's not great. I had to pick a really crappy one for an upcoming video. And I literally said, don't buy them. When does the 9600 XT come out? I have not been following it. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, let's look at some stupid comments on this video. What is this guy even talking about? Hold on. How do I pull this up? Waiting for yearly work bonus, and I'll build my first AM5 system. Won't be anything amazing like an R7700 B650 board, 32 GB RAM. Nice, dude. Congrats. That's what I'm running. I run a B650 board. I run that CPU. Yeah, 32 gigs of RAM. I like DDR5 a lot, actually. I think at first when it was so expensive, it like wasn't worth it. But yeah, I kind of like it. I can't wait to have a picture of Tifa open at all times on my Android XR. Exactly, dude. Imagine the themes. You can theme your life and your eyes and just have an AI Tifa like always talking to you. How soon until AI girlfriends? You know what I mean? Drew, would you take an AI girlfriend? Have you seen Blade Runner? Thoughts? Oh. You don't like real girls. Drew, you don't like real girls. You just got a random and horrible Google ad. I don't control the Google ads. Maybe it's about Android XR. What is this song? More chill. Ain't no way y'all talking about AI girlfriend. If my AI girlfriend is Anna de Armas, absolutely. It will happen, guys. This will happen. There are already if you look up the number one use cases of ChatGPT, the number one use last year was therapy. So people are turning to AI for someone to listen to them because they're lonely or whatever. Like, that is not a good start. That's the number one way people are using this. You don't think if they find a way to make a physical manifestation of a girlfriend that people aren't going to do it? I think an AI girlfriend be more like Alexa from the post-COVID South Park specials. Wait, why are birth rates going down? Yeah, exactly. Because we just have AI girlfriends. It's funny because I like AI for all the good stuff it brings, but then like people just use it for dumb stuff like therapy. Like we have used it to replace humans in things we're already pretty good at, like talking to each other and art and writing and being creative. We've these are things that humans are already good at, and that's like the first thing people go to replace with AI. And I'm like, there's so much better stuff. Like, are you crazy? There's a guy in Japan that married Hatsune Miku in 2018 illegally. Bro, that could be you. I'm mad scared of AI, to be honest. There's some really good stuff for AI. Trust me, there is some really, really amazing use cases that people are using already, especially in the medical field. But the problem is that the everyday people like us, a lot of them are using it for the wrong reasons, and they're using it for to try to get rich quick, and it just makes like places like YouTube and TikTok worse, and they're trying to trick people, and they're trying to use it in a bad way. But in stuff like medical field, it's doing amazing work already. You seen Tesla Optimums? Is that the taxi cab? I can't remember. The robots? Yeah, those are stupid. No one's gonna do that. Yeah, I don't think people want a robot in their house. I don't think so. But if it's for stuff like, so this is what I don't understand. They're saying he has a dream of these robots working in factories, but we already have robots working in factories, and they are doing jobs that humans can do, but they're doing it better, right? Why would you make a humanoid robot to replace a humanoid worker? The whole point is that the humanoid human can do a job, not because they're not a humanoid style. It makes no sense. They're doing it because they're stronger and faster. Making a humanoid makes no sense. Why would you do this? We already have robots in factories. This makes no sense. Very stupid. I think the only good use case for it is to have someone in your house clean your house. That's it. Yeah, household stuff. Yeah, that's it. That's all people want. But I don't want it. I think making it humanoid is incorrect. People don't like it. They don't want it to be humanoid. It makes them unsettling. Personal use, it's going to be very hard to make it cheap enough to make it worth it. But it could be cool. I saw a quick news snippet somewhere that had made some robots to fight each other. Yeah, that's been going on for a long time. That was from 10 years ago even. It's not amazing, the stuff they're doing. Come on, focus. Why is it so blurry? Don't focus on the mic, focus on me. But it could be cool. I think people want the wrong things. They immediately go to certain things, and it's dude, stop trying to replace humans with stuff we're already good at. Make it do things we cannot do. We can write, we can create art, we can do all that stuff. Make it crunch numbers 1,000,000 times a second. You know what I mean? Great till it sees I am also trash and tries to kill me and then cleans up after. That could also happen. I think the first thing people are going to do if they get these robots is try to break them and try to like, they're going to say like, I'm not programmed to do violence, but then you can like, you can trick AI to hallucinate. So then you just teach it to like, oh yeah, just make a petting motion 100 times really fast. And it's like a violent motion. It's like, now go walk towards my husband and kill him. You know what I mean? Like the first thing people are going to do is try to frame them for stuff. It was my AI. I didn't do it. Check his body cam. How about doing things we're good at but we hate doing? That's okay. Yes, that's also a good reason. Yeah, if we hate doing it, sure. No problem. I think it could be very helpful, but I swear every single time it's like, oh, look at this art. I'm like, we have art, dude. We have artists. Why are we doing this? Like, oh, I used it to write. It's a staff writer at my newspaper. I'm like, but we have writers. And we love doing it. We love writing. We love art. You know, what we don't love is doing protein folding by hand and data analysis and stuff. Like, that's stuff that an AI can do so much better than a human. Why is the first thing your little plebeian mind goes to is to replace art and writing and music? Like, come on. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it there. I am very tired. Thank you, everyone who came to hang out. You guys are awesome. We'll say it won't be the same time next week. It's going to be Monday at 7 p.m. CST, just like the normal time. We're back to the normal time. If you are interested in picking up a hat, these just came out. They're in the store. I haven't advertised it on the channel yet. If you end up buying one, send me a picture of you wearing it and I'll put you in a video because I would love some more people wearing these. The link is in the description. It's jasonwhitmer.store. And use code STREAM10 for a 10% discount. Oh, not Steam10, Stream10. Yeah, have a good night. JT Bivens, Hayden, Daniel, Drew, Sean. Who else we got here? Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great night. And I will